everybody, welcome. Sorry for the very short delay. We had some technical difficulties, but we are ready to go. Thanks for joining. We are in the final semifinal of History Showdown, the greatest history trivia show on the internet. No doubt, guaranteed. Now, today's show is going to be a little bit special because all three of these guys have been on in previous episodes, and we gave invitations to these three guys to come back in very, very narrow games, and they get another shot to come in and get that coveted spot in the championship. So I am super excited to bring these guys back. They are some of the best YouTubers out there, some of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to history that I have ever met here, and they're all great dudes. So we're going to bring them in one by one here. Now, first, though, I put in a poll, and if you are in the YouTube chat, check that out, about who you think should win. And we'll go in reverse order right now. You're going to need to prove them wrong here, I think, Mr. Cypher, because in the poll, you're last at the moment, but I think you, I don't know. I think that may be bad choice. I don't know. Or you just, I don't know.
I'm looking at the categories already going like,
All right. So, yes, we do have time for the cynical historian. And then we're bringing on here literal emperor himself, Emperor Tigerstar, who is in second in the current poll right now at 21%. How do you feel about it right now?
Well, that's why they call me the comeback cat.
Comeback cat. Oh, that was awesome. Chat history, hello. I saw you in the chat. Now, the guy leading the poll right now in predictions is Chris, vlogging through history. You have some pressure. You have 69. Nice. Percent. What do you think?
69%?
Yep.
They're crazy. I'm feeling the same way Cypher is about these categories right now.
Yeah, they can see them right now, and they are quite random. Now, all these guys had different themes in the episodes that they were on, but once you get past a round, things are going to get a lot more complicated. Some of them might put more like world history stuff, and some it was more like U.S. history. That stuff doesn't matter so much anymore. You're really going to have a good depth of historical knowledge, I think, here today. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the game, though. Let me go ahead and set it up. But yeah, in chat, go ahead and tell us who you think is going to win and why. And we'll see what happens. I think we're going to have a fantastic game here tonight. Let's go ahead and show the first categories as I go ahead and set this up for us. We have got, and by the way, I need to shout out some of the helpers that I had with this, especially Professor What, if he's in chat. He follows all of these guys and also really helped me write. So if he is in chat, he has been an awesome writer for this. So I am just very pleased for all the help there. I also don't know how it worked out, but Chris's logo is the biggest on the one on the bottom. I think he put in a code to just make it look bigger.
History Channel funding.
Yeah, History Channel. He's sweetening the deal there or something.
Don't. Hey, listen, I've been on the History Channel for two different things, and one of them I didn't even get paid for, so there's no funding.
That's all right. You were on it in celebrity. All right. Anyways, yes, these are the current categories for right now. For round one. Now, if you have not joined us before, there are 2 rounds. Round 2 will have double the point value. And I think for all of you, if I remember right, the game came down to the final question, the open-ended, we call it the History Showdown. So all these guys, it was very, very close, and we'll see how that goes. So, but first round, here are the point values. Now, the quote or the categories right now are as follows. We've got spurious quotes. So they're quotes somebody may or may not have said famously. We got African colonization. We got some American history here with speakers of the House. The Romanovs. So we're going to Russia for that one. And then Micronations. So a great, I think, mix there. All right, chat, you know what we do in the first one. I will take the first suggestion for a category and point value from the chat. After that, it's going to go to whoever answered the most recent question. And we already have it. We, the rabble, wants to go big already with spurious quotes.
Oh boy.
For 500. Let's see how well read or not you are. Okay, here we go. And here we go. He said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent.
I'm not buzzing in unless I'm sure.
It's a little more eloquent, I think you put it that. All tyranny needs to gain a foothold for good people of good conscience to remain silent. We'll go 3, 2, 1. Oh, nothing on this one, but that is okay. That was Jefferson, you guys.
It was Jefferson. That sounds like a Jefferson quote.
Yep.
Well, I mean, at least we all had a good conscience there.
I buzzed in too often last time.
You see people reword it when it was just basically like what all tyranny needs is like good people to do nothing. I think you hear that.
Oh, yeah.
Evil triumphs when good people do nothing is usually how I hear it.
General idea. But there we go. Okay. But that was a big question. Nobody gets the points on this one. So I am just going to go ahead since nobody had
Why is it
that
called spurious
one.
Quotes?
Because they may or may not have said it.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And some of you'll get it, I think, as it goes on. But we'll see what else we've got here. I'm going to go with the next one I saw on my screen just because we still don't have a difference. Micronations for 300. Here we go. The Principality of Snake Hill was declared in this country by a family unable to pay taxes. Let's see. Anybody heard of the Snake Hill Micronation? I think the idea of micronation is just fun. Tigerstar.
I believe it's in Australia.
That is correct.
That was definitely weighted towards your expertise.
Leave it to the map guy to get that one.
I actually did some videos on some micronations for April Fool's Day. So I actually looked up a lot of these recently. So
yeah, these people couldn't pay their taxes, so they're like, we're just gonna declare independence because
that's a very common theme.
Just declaring it, that's all you have to do if you didn't know.
I mean, that's basically
sovereign citizens.
Yeah. Citizens are everywhere. All right, but Tigerstar did get the points and has control of the board. What would you like?
Micronations 500.
Micronations for 500. All right, we'll stay on task here. All right, the Conch Republic was founded in 1982 in this American city.
I know where it is. Like I can point to it on a map.
Yes. All right, 5. The Conch Nation.
It's in Florida. But
well, we don't get it. But actually, Cypher, you were correct. Where it is specifically is Key West.
Oh,
Key West.
Key West,
Thank you.
Florida. There is a
I was like, I know it's at the bottom of the map.
Yep. By the way, chat, I will be staying a little bit after the show today to answer any questions. The guests are totally invited to stay. Some of you guys are sending in super chat questions to some of the guests, and I told them it was totally optional if they would like to stay, but I did see some of those coming through. But regardless, I will get through any super chat questions that you have at the end of the show. So thank you guys for supporting the show. It's a great way to support, and I'll be happy to talk with you guys about whatever you want to after our show. All right. Okay, so we're just going to keep it with Tigerstar.
Micronations 400.
Micronations for 400. Here we go. The Republic of Molossia is in this U.S. state. Tigerstar.
Never heard any of these.
Nevada.
That is true.
Yep.
We're on his bread and butter category right now.
I guess I had no idea that you knew about micronations.
I watched Kickassia when it came out.
Oh, okay.
That's how I found about it.
I was wondering in Nevada. I'm like, maybe Cypher will know this. He knows the Southwest a little bit.
They do claim colonies in California.
The same guy?
Sandy Valley. Yeah. It's not really California, but yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, this may inspire some of you in chat. If you were going to make your own micronation, what would it be called? I want to see some good names in the chat. Okay. Or if you think any of these contestants should make a name or make a micronation, what do you think they should call their nations? I'd love for you to hear.
I live in a micronation. It's under my cat.
The kingdom. Yeah, you're not the ruler of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
the cat is in charge. Yeah.
All right. Tigerstar's up with 700 right now.
Micronations 200.
Okay, he wants to clean this category out. Let's see what you guys can do, though. Quite a few claims have been put on Bir Tawil, which is between these two African countries. Tigerstar again.
Oh, I got before me.
Egypt and Sudan.
Egypt and Sudan is correct. So there's this little space right here. And when I was looking this up, you can find so many pictures of people that have like made their own homemade flags and just taken their picture right here, like, you know, claiming it. Because apparently that's all you kind of have to do. So
It's unclaimed by either nation. That's why.
right. So yeah, I saw some funny pictures of people like making their own flag. So nice. Do you have anything to add to that, Tigerstar? Because it sounds like you already knew about it.
I've made a video on it. It's also just very funny because it's like you could just claim it anyway, but it's like, so you acknowledge the other border. No, no, we will not give in. It's like,
all right, now
70 years.
Who chose a category that Tigerstar did videos on?
Fantastic. How lucky. Would you like to clean out the category here?
Yeah, 100.
All right, here we go. Founded by Paddy Roy Bates in the North Sea in 1967, might be the most famous micronation. Oh, you guys are all plugging in on this one. But Tigerstar was first. What do you got?
Sealand.
Yeah. This is one of the only ones with like the fake island. Or, like,
I talked about this on the History Channel. The only one I knew.
And you know what? Their sovereignty was kind of indirectly, maybe perhaps interpretively acknowledged in British court. So I'd say
really?
that's the best that they've gotten.
Okay.
And by I think the Germans who sent an ambassador.
Well, so there was a German business guy who tried to lead a coup on Sealand, and he failed, and so he was placed under arrest on the thing, and he wouldn't let them go. So Germany sent a diplomat from the UK consulate to negotiate his release, and so Sealand uses that as like, hey, we're recognized by Germany too.
I mean, yeah, they wouldn't have shown up if they didn't think it was like legit there.
They stamp your passport when you go there.
They do.
And they're like a little post office and stuff too. So like, I love it. I was trying to see if we got any good micronation names out here. Oh yeah, everyone be watching Kick Assia. Nice. Yep. I think that was talked about. Vlogging through nations. Okay, that's a good one. How about just Wilsonia?
And no.
and then
there
someone put anti Wilsonia.
Cypher would live there with me.
Yeah. Tax Evasion Island. Okay, that's probably the most like realistic of names that apply for somebody creating a micronation. So all right, we're getting off task here, but okay, Tigerstar cleaned that out. But I don't know. Have you made videos on the rest of these? I guess we'll find out. Go ahead and pick.
African colonization 500.
All right, African colonization for 500. Here we go. Angola and Mozambique were the largest African colonies of this country. Tigerstar was first.
Portugal.
That is correct. Did you make a map on this?
Of course I have.
Of course you did. But you know the other ones?
Map categories.
I could name every colony in Africa if you give me 1,000 bonus points right now.
And who colonized
I think
them?
one of Tigerstar's fans made these categories.
Professor what? No, we actually took in a lot from our Discord community, so that was pretty good. All right, you do got it though. Well done.
400.
All right, African colonization. Here we go. He was the owner of the Congo Free State. Oh, it was so close, but it was Tigerstar again.
Dang.
King Leopold of Belgium.
That's right.
Wasn't it King Leopold the second?
Yes,
Yeah.
but
I was clicking, but it wasn't like buzzing in. It was weird.
Oh,
It was
really?
making a noise. Yeah, it just kept
You
buzzing.
Have, by
but
the
it
way,
wouldn't
you
actually
have
buzz
kind
in.
of like lagged, at least on my end, a little bit.
That's why, because I clicked it like 6 times before it accepted it.
Okay, I've seen your voice and your cam kind of stutter a couple times. So, man,
Yeah,
this
you keep
guy
losing a lot.
got away.
Well,
with murder.
you freeze up about every 5 seconds for me.
Me? Oh no.
That's
Sorry.
it's probably us him seeing when he freezes to the rest of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, this guy he got away with a lot, didn't he?
Mhm.
All right, Tigerstar, you're making us look bad.
300.
We'll see if you get you see all these other like random ones. 400 or 300? Here we go.
300, yeah.
All right, these two capital cities were to be the endpoints of the British Planned Railroad spanning Africa of north to south. Tigerstar.
Cairo to Cape Town.
Oh, you know it.
Oh.
Cairo to Cape Town.
I knew Cairo. I couldn't remember what the other one was.
The other one?
Yeah.
The problem, if you know your colonial history, was there was a colony by another country that blocked that potential railroad, right? Germany.
Of course, it was Germany.
Yep, Germany, East Africa, which made it a great place to fight World War I, so you can make your trans-African railroad from north to south. Never happens, but it was proposed. It was in a DBQ that we did on a AP World History exam. It was great.
I haven't thought of a DBQ in so long.
You should. They're fun. They're great. All right.
Trauma.
200. I know there are
200.
so many points on the board. We'll see if he can keep going with these, though. But what do we got?
200.
Okay, 200. Ethiopia and this other nation were the only African nations not to be colonized. Tigerstar, what the heck?
Liberia.
Yeah. For funsies, why?
How did you even read it that fast?
The question is, are you reading it that fast? But yes, of course.
I took my high school's quiz bowl team to state. I'm trained in this.
You want to give the backstory in Liberia? Because it's a great story.
Basically, we're like, hey, send the slaves back to Africa. And then some people tried. And then ironically, they ended up pulling an America in Africa against other Africans. And it was pretty bad.
Yep. So yeah, the whole idea, it's like slavery, with slavery in the United States was like, will free slaves actually be able to assimilate into American culture? How about we get some territory in Africa that the slaves can leave to? So Liberia settled. And then, like you said, ironically, they actually engaged in slavery once there. Some of the people in Liberia. Isn't Liberia also one of the places where you can just like any shipping company can basically use their flag and avoid a whole bunch of
they are a flag of convenience.
Yeah it's like wow, there's sure a lot of Liberian ships in the oceans.
Tippinogo's Malta, Liberia, and one of the Caribbean islands that actually is 2 islands and it's named something and something islands nice are the main flags of convenience. Oh, and Panama.
Yes. Does help that at least for them they have to militarily defend it the way that Ethiopia had to. So all right, you want to finish this out?
100.
Yeah, let's do it. Save for a few years under fascist Italy, this African nation avoided colonization. Tigerstar was first.
Ethiopia.
That is true. King Menelik. If you feel bad for the Italians, and you don't need to, don't worry, they do come back later. But not so long. All right.
They just swept 2 categories.
Now he sure did, but
now my confidence is going down.
How do you feel about these other ones? Let's see what we got.
I feel better about these other ones. We'll see.
Plays less to a map.
Feel any worse? I mean,
I wanted to get a healthy lead because now I'm more nervous.
I had a lead like this against the History Underground too. So
that's right. He made a crazy comeback at the end, didn't he? In round 2. Remember, all the points are doubled then. So, all right. What do you feel least not confident about?
Let's go with Romanov's 500.
All right. Let's see if you know your Russian families. Here we go. The daughters of the final Romanov ruler in a group went by this acronym. The acronym of then. This is deep. By the way, shout out to Professor What. He loves the Russian.
I'm trying to think of the names and what acronym.
Yeah, you know the names, the kids. You'd have to know it there. This is definitely a high level one. They kind of were known by this acronym here. All right, we're out of time. OTMA. OTMA. Now, I only remember of Anastasia. I can't remember the names of the others though.
Maria Tatiana, I think it was.
Okay. Maria Tatiana and
Anastasia.
We had Anastasia.
Yeah,
Who's the O? I can't remember who the O is.
This just seems like Russian ABBA.
Yeah. they then went on to
they were all murdered.
Yeah, but then I was going to say they had a very short career before the Bolsheviks.
They released their single SOS, and that was it.
Olga. Chat saying Olga. Okay, good enough. All right. See, that's the problem, you guys. The ones he's not getting, y'all aren't getting. So
right.
I'm just kidding. All right.
These questions are like well outside of my
I know.
expertise.
I guess Romanov's 400.
Romanov's 400. Go. The secession laws bear his name. Some believe he was not even a Romanov. You know your other emperors? Should give you a hint. It's a very Christian name. I can tell you that. 3, 2, 1. It was. May not have actually been a Romanov. We don't know. Paul the First. So there we go. May not have been a Romanov, but technically was part of the Romanov dynasty. So we'll see. I don't do the DNA, I guess, to find out if he was or not. All right. Should we keep going, Romanovs?
Yeah.
Might as well.
All right, let's do it. 300. The Romanovs were connected to the Rurikids through the aunt of progenitor Michael and the wife of this czar. This guy is a famous, you all know this guy. I can tell you that. Chris.
Ivan the Terrible.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Ivan the Terrible. I had to put the famous painting, and he kills his son. I always thought this was like just the most haunting picture, with him. Like, I just killed my own boy. All right. Hey, you got control.
Romanov's 200.
Let's do it. Romanov's 200. The Romanovs celebrated their tricentenary in this year. 300 years of rule.
I have an idea, but I'm not going to bet.
Give you a hint. It didn't last much longer. Imagine a monarchy going that long. Tigerstar?
It wasn't like 1916, was it?
It was
1912.
Not that. Oh,
I'm not buzzing in. So.
Oh, was that just okay? An unofficial guess. 1913. That's a long time for a monarchy. Holy cow!
Also very ironic given what happened the next year.
Yeah,
it's about to break out, and then they're all going to be dead by the end of the end of this thing. So, all right. It did bring him down. He is human. So,
I can bleed. Oh no!
Crystal had the control of the last, so we'll go ahead and let him keep it. What do you got?
Romanov's 100.
Okay, here we go. 2 empresses of this name succeeded their husbands. The same. Tigerstar.
Catherine.
Catherine is correct.
Yep.
2 Catherines. We all know this one the most. The Great. Actually German.
Yeah. Well, everybody from every royal family is German, so
that's true. And now with some of my my ancestry through my grandmother's side, we're all they're Volga Germans. Really cool to learn about that because in the DNA there's no Russian in it. It's purely German, but they lived on the Volga River, brought over by Catherine for a couple hundred years or something.
Probably fought against the Germans at Stalingrad.
Yeah, and then probably ended up doing. They migrated right before World War I to the U.S.
Were they Jewish?
Actually,
that was the time when a lot of Jews left Russia.
I don't know, but they got out. My grandma, she was the youngest of the family. It was my great grandma. All her siblings were born there in Russia. She was the only one born in the U.S. But yeah, I want to dig back in that, and I want to learn more about what brought them to the U.S. and if
there was also a lot of anti-German sentiment growing in Russia at the time.
It was picking up.
World War I.
Saw the pogroms coming or something, All right, Tigerstar, you are up. What do you like, spurious quotes or speakers of the house?
Speakers of the house 100.
All right, here we go. She was the first female speaker. Chris.
Nancy Pelosi.
That is correct.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
First female speaker. It's kind of a long time. I mean,
female speaker. Yeah.
They didn't do that. It was a boys' club, I guess.
Women?
Come to think of it, yeah.
Yep.
I almost
named them going all the way back to the 70s, but and
now
there wouldn't have been any females before the 70s, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I thought of a few, but then I mixed them up with like Secretary of State, and so that's
it's all speakers of the house. So
yep.
All right.
You
can continue.
200.
Here we go. He was the longest serving Speaker of the House. I don't know if I can think of any quotes or any hints.
Can I
don't have.
Is it possible to get negative points? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can
go negative.
Nope.
if you want. All right, 2-1. It is
Rayburn.
Henry
Yeah.
Rayburn.
I
Rayburn.
knew it was Rayburn. He's one of the buildings there is named after Sam Rayburn.
I was thinking it was Henry Clay, so I'm glad I didn't buzz in.
Yeah, I thought Henry Clay, but I'm like, no, it's someone else.
Yeah, plus it was non-consecutive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
300.
Yeah, 300 speakers. Okay. He is the only speaker to also be president. Chris.
Polk.
That's true. James K. Polk. Hey, I think
it's amazing to me he's the only speaker who's ever been president.
Yeah, because you think it's such a elevated position within your party. Like,
yeah, he's certainly not the only one to run. He's just the only one to.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Maybe it's a position. It's like you want to get as high as you can in politics, but you do not want to be like president or vice president. Maybe that's your.
And it used to be. I mean, we've had vice president. Schuyler Colfax was vice president after he was speaker, and but it used to be Secretary of State was the way to go if you wanted to be president.
Yeah, you think
or governor.
Yeah, governor's still a very common one.
People do like governor, just for the executive part of it. You're right, but I also think of all of the They Might Be Giant songs, I think the James K. Polk song is like extremely underrated.
I've never heard that. Now I need to go listen to it.
Oh yeah.
Has anyone made a James K. Polka? That feels like just an opportunity waiting to happen. Has Weird Al done it?
No, he hasn't.
A really good idea, though.
Weird Al should collaborate with They Might Be Giants, and that would be perfect.
The James K. Polka.
It's a great song, like a legit great song by those.
Had a little bit of Norteña when talking about the Mexican-American War. That also uses the accordion.
Turn it into a corrido.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
400 Speakers of the House.
Okay, 400. Here we go. This man with a victorious sounding name was the only Democratic speaker of the progressive era. I like the little clue there. Oh, my image didn't load of this person. All right, we'll go 5. 4. He's a victorious sounding name. I like that. It's a great clue. All right, it is Champ Clark. It didn't load. Just imagine a champion and you got Champ Clark. Okay.
Oh, funny thing is, I knew the name and I didn't even know which party he was.
Notice that Champ Clark and Superman are never in the same room together.
Oh yeah.
that makes more sense. All right, we'll stay with it though. Should we go 500? Yeah, let's clean it out. Here we go. The first speaker of the House was a member of both the pro-administration and anti-administration factions at various times. But the biggest clue, if you know, he's the first speaker of the House. Go ahead, Cypher.
Oh, first speaker. Dang it. I was going to say Henry Clay.
No, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Muhlenberg.
That is correct.
Nice.
Yes, Frederick Muhlenberg.
He was one of the 3 that went to confront Alexander Hamilton about the Maria Reynolds affair. Unlike what they show in the musical, Muhlenberg was one of them.
Well, they should have brought him. Look at this guy. He's being intimidating. Go confront him, All right, it's the quotes. Where should we start?
100.
100. Here we go. She may or may not have said, "Let them eat cake." Go ahead, Chris.
She did not. It was Marie Antoinette. It appeared in print long before she could have said it.
Are you saying she never uttered those words?
I'm not saying she never did, but I'm saying
her wife
predates her.
Well, no, she would have spoken French, so she wouldn't have uttered those words.
She was German. She was Austrian.
We'll get super analytical about it. Who knows? What's this in French? Either you guys know French? Dang. No. All right. Nevertheless.
200. Keep going with it.
All right. What? Sorry, 2?
Yeah.
If we go up, we'll go up. There you go. He said, if you're not a liberal when you're 25, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative by the time you're 35, you have no brain. Oh, you were quick on that one. Go ahead, Tiger.
That was Reagan, wasn't it?
It was not.
Nope.
Oh.
Reagan was my first gut feeling, too.
That does sound very Reagan.
He never would have said anybody should be a liberal at any point in their life.
Well, why don't you buzz in?
He
Chris?
confessed that he was a liberal.
I don't know who it is. I just know it's not Reagan.
Okay. You're like, I know who would not say it. All right. It was Churchill.
Oh.
Yeah.
He was just justifying himself because that's what he did.
Mm-hmm. That's what you do. You're like, well, it was good for the time, like at my age,
Look, all the kids were doing it at the time.
Yeah.
It was
all the really wealthy members of the aristocracy were doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Should we go 3 or 4?
Yep.
All right, here we go. He said, I feel all we have done is to wake a sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve.
Also, definitely did not say it, Admiral Yamamoto.
Yeah, you don't think anything
that comes from the Midway movie in the 1970s.
Yeah, that's why this is spurious quotes. Do you think something like that was said though? Like
I think he definitely thought that.
He actually said something very similar to that quote. But he said so well into the war, but it's actually it's nothing like that quote, but it's basically I know these people because he went to Yale, if I remember correctly. Or
yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah, and he basically was like, I know how these people work, and they don't give up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's one of those quotes that totally fits with what he would have said. Just no evidence he actually said it,
and why people may not be like big grievance against it. Because like it was a sentiment.
Yeah.
I love hearing those stories though, where they're like, so many Japanese people had gone to like school in the US and lived in the US. And I guess we're, telling people back in Japan, like, don't mess with them. They have like unlimited food. They got unlimited like resources. Like you don't fully understand how powerful that place can be.
Yeah.
That was essentially because I remember having to look up this specific quote and like how it came to be and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually like a bunch of when these kinds of things happen, you get a bunch of historians who are just like, well, but he did say something very similar here and here, and so there's like actually a whole back and forth on it. I actually have a book on
that's awesome
on Pearl Harbor. That's
also Tora is a great and overlooked movie.
Yeah,
yes.
That's the
way
movie
better than Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
great
for sure.
A lot of practical effects in that one.
My favorite part is how like one of the few mistakes in the movie is that they're flying over part of Hawaii and you see the Pearl Harbor monument there because that's on location. So of course they can't remove it.
The best part of the practical
brilliant
effects
things they
is
did in
one
that
scene.
movie was that they actually shot it with 2 separate crews. They had one that did all the Japanese
parts.
Yeah, that's really made it special.
And there's also that one the one scene where you see the guy who's like scrambling to get out of the way of a burning plane. He was actually running.
Yeah, that was legit.
Yep. Like that thing was not supposed to blow up like that, and he nearly died. So, and they just were like, "That's cool, leave it in."
For a great JD, JD is in chat. Okay, History Underground said Tor.
He's scouting the opposition.
It was Harvard. We went to Harvard.
Oh, it was Harvard. Okay,
Yamamoto. Was it him? And
Ivy League. They're all the same.
English. They're all the same. Yeah,
obviously, they're all Ivy League, whatever, bull crap. All right.
I say that until I actually get a job in one, and then there's serious differences.
There we go. All right, we got one left in round 1. Let's just get to it right now. Here we go. He said, maybe, it's impossible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible.
I think I know
that seems like a Reagan quote, too.
Sure, it could be attributed to...
I'm gonna
go ahead, Chris.
George Washington.
That is correct. That is correct. It's impossible to rightly govern a nation without God and the Bible.
Weirdly, I was almost thinking Cromwell, but I'm like, no,
that definitely seems
like
a
lot of people could have said that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have actually done a lot of work on talking about how the founding fathers were fairly guarded in their religious beliefs, and
they thought it was private. It was something you kind of kept to yourself.
Yeah. And like there's all these quotes about he was found praying before the I don't know which battle, but there's that famous painting of him praying, and it turns out that's a story from 20 years after he was dead. So it's like it's just like there's all these stories compounding this whole idea that we're a Christian nation, but that's just false.
For sure. They walk in on you praying. Are you praying in here? No.
As if that proves anything. Like you found a guy praying. Big freaking whoop,
We're actually a deist nation. God made America and then just left, and we're just kind of stuck here now. And
exactly,
we're dealing with the fallout, and it's not going very well. Please come back.
He doesn't appear to be around lately, does he?
All right, guys, that is the end of first round. I can tell you, no lead is safe now, and you can even see. What
I
it
have
was
the
like
best score for golf.
Hey,
Cypher's going to come back and destroy us all.
Don't worry, there are so many more points here, but it is a very narrow game right now. Okay,
Chris
leading
and
at the
I
moment, Emperor
partitioned
Tigerstar
Poland.
2,200. Chris is right behind him at 2,000, and this is not far. Even, yeah.
No, I mean when you got 5 questions that are 1,000 each, you can easily roll in the second round.
Let's go ahead, and we're going to show you the next.
Oh, here we go.
You ready?
I'm never ready. Oh my gosh. Oh no, that's the last.
Yes. First category,
the Mild West. That sounds like a
Woodrow Wilson
category there.
Oh, okay, some of this is like really for me.
The Mild West. Yes, Cypher. We had you
Woodrow
in mind.
Wilson, the GOAT.
Yeah, Woodrow Wilson, the GOAT. We knew we had to get that in for you guys. We have the Mild West, not the Wild West. We couldn't just give you that category, Cypher. We have the 1990s, and we got a couple of famous thing categories, famous speeches, and just famous documents in history. So I think this is going to be good. All right, this is what we're going to do, though. Tigerstar is in the lead. We'll let him pick.
Oh, God.
Which category are you going to
Cypher? The person in last is supposed to go first.
Oh, is that how it goes in the second round? Okay, you're right.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Cypher, this is your chance to get in the lead. What do you feel strongest in? And I didn't really tell you what the Mild West means, but
yeah, let's go with Mild West for 600.
All right, here we go. This treaty ended the war between Germany and Russia in World War I.
Damn it.
Go ahead,
Brest-Litovsk.
Yeah, Brest-Litovsk. Yep. So this is actually going to be more about. It's not going to be wild. It's actually going to be a lot more peaceful out here in the Western world. But it is, yeah, Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. Germany didn't get a hold on to that very long, though.
No,
it was a great deal at the time. Holy crap, they had got a lot of land.
The Americans came in, messed it all up.
It's also the it thoroughly disproves the whole like you can't invade Russia in the winter.
You do it, you make it bad enough.
You just have to do it when they're in the middle of a civil war. That's all.
That helps. Yeah, you just gotta. Well,
the Civil War had barely started.
Well, the Germans were smart. They put the ticking time bomb of sending Lenin back into the country. And that was the plant. And of all the gambles I feel like Germany did in World War I, that was like the one that actually worked. Of okay, is Schlieffen plan gonna work? Let's roll the dice on that. And not really. Okay, Belgium. Maybe Britain won't care if Belgium gets invaded. Nope, that didn't work either. So
they'll never acknowledge the continent.
All right. We are back. You took the lead on
all right, let's go Woodrow Wilson, the GOAT, for 200.
Okay. In all of these, you will have to recognize the greatness of Woodrow Wilson.
I changed my mind.
You guys know
the great evil, the great ignorance,
I'm glad we all agree on that.
Blame it on this man. After he didn't get the Republican nomination, he ran with his own bull moose party, Chris.
Theodore Roosevelt.
Were you gonna grab a bobblehead or something?
Yeah,
there?
I was gonna grab the bobblehead. Which I broke, by the way. He has no feet right now.
Do you guys? How much blame?
A slower reader than you guys or something?
I love Theodore Roosevelt, but I put all the blame on him for that,
for ruining the election, that's splitting the votes and all that stuff. Do you think that would have been the end of Wilson if he hadn't won that?
I do.
Yeah,
I don't know if others think that, but I certainly do.
I have to look more into what happened there. I will never ever admit and acknowledge that the riding the moose thing was fake. I will always believe it to my core that
it's
Roosevelt,
so obviously photoshopped.
Not just once, but routinely rode a moose.
Listen,
I mean, he rode a moose metaphorically and made it his image.
That would have been one of the least interesting things that man did in his life. So I can totally believe he rode a moose.
Oh, he rode a moose.
You can literally see him like holding non-existent reins. Plus, this is a photo from a newspaper that photoshopped at the time in 1912 the other party. Freaking Taft riding a elephant and Wilson riding a freaking donkey, or properly, it's called an ass. The symbol of the Democratic Party is not a donkey; it's an ass.
Cypher, you're gonna set the record for when you have a child or something someday of the youngest age to tell your child that Santa Claus doesn't exist. You're gonna break the record at the conscious level. You're gonna ruin.
Or I'm just gonna be screwing with my child and make them think that it's real until they're
I
like.
don't think I ever told my kids. I think they just kind of figured it out on their own.
Yeah, and sorry, chat. Santa's real. He lives in. He's Turkish, right? Isn't the original? Isn't he Turkish? The original Santa Claus.
Saint Nick was Turkish.
Well, I know a whole bunch of people claim Santa Claus. A bunch of cultures. I heard the Turkish one, but anyway. All right. Are you sticking with your favorite
Woodrow Wilson? But I'm not going to say the rest of the category name. 400.
Here we go. This failed predecessor of the UN was Wilson's brainchild. First in was
Tigerstar.
League of Nations.
Yeah.
Which we didn't even join.
Nope. What do you guys think? Because I asked, it's a fun. I mean, it's a hypothetical I give to my students. Would the League of Nations have had more bite to it if the U.S. was involved? And do you even think they would have intervened in? Let's say something like the invasion of Ethiopia happens. Do you think it doomed the League of Nations not having the U.S.
I don't think it would have mattered.
I actually think there could have been like some situations where like if we would have taken it seriously, then maybe we could have cut off like oil and scrap from Japan like before they invaded China.
Okay.
And they were like like we could have like set the ball rolling earlier potentially.
Like could do a blockade or not blockade, the sanction
embargo.
The thing that doomed the League of Nations is its requirement to act. So as soon as any nation within it violates that requirement to act,
which is what
it falls apart immediately.
Right.
Also, I do want to point out. Yep. Wilson actually should not get the credit for that. It's Immanuel Kant who came up with the League of Nations.
Oh, okay. I guess he's the one that
literally a century and a half prior.
Sure, like the concept of it.
Immanuel Kant has trademarked a priori, so any and all ideas that are common sense belong to him.
I mean, the Congress of Vienna is certainly like a version of the League of Nations, just on a European scale.
It just never continued and built upon, It's just all right.
We didn't create a right. Okay, we're done. Organization. That's the difference.
Yeah. All right. But obviously, it was successful because you didn't have a second world war. So I don't know why we're even complaining. So
right.
All right, Tigerstar, you're up.
Let's finish it. Wilson 600.
Okay. You have to say that. I don't know what category you're talking about.
He said Wilson.
Woodrow Wilson
that's not the name of the category.
Make him say it.
Woodrow Wilson, and I'm air quoting here.
The ass?
Goat.
The goat. The animal, is that what you're saying? Okay, here we go. This movie was history written in lightning. Chris?
Oh my gosh, it just left my mind.
Taking too long.
Wait, that was way too fast. Come on.
Sorry.
Birth of a Nation.
What?
You didn't even give me like 3 seconds.
What'd you say? Or I just had it. I'm sorry.
That's not how
Jeopardy is not the name of the movie.
Quick.
By the way, I have to point out, I've actually been at fault for doing this, but that's one of those semi-spurious quotes.
Sure. Wait. The history written history written with lightning.
It is as if history was written with lightning, and I only wish it weren't so terribly true. If I remember the quote, that was quoted by Thomas Dixon, who wrote the book it's based on, and by the way, who happened to be the roommate of Woodrow Wilson in college. Yeah. So, very close ties, but that quote came in 1922. Wilson wasn't dead yet, but he wasn't president anymore.
He was almost dead in 22.
Didn't he die in 26?
He died in 24.
Yeah.
February 24, I think.
I mean, he might as well.
And
he was basically a vegetable. But the thing is, he was recorded as saying something similar to that by I'm forgetting Secretary of State, bald dude. What is his name?
Now
wasn't Secretary of State anymore. He'd gotten fired, but he was at the screening.
Oh, he was from Ohio. Darn it, he's buried in Cleveland. Forget his name.
That's buried in Cleveland. I thought you were saying burying Cleveland. Yeah, but Brian? No, right? I don't know. But either way, he recorded him saying something along those lines, and it had the word thunder in that explanation. So there's like
Secretary of War. You're talking about William Jennings Bryan, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I do think it's a cool quote though. Like just
yeah.
for
Plus,
how it blew
Wilson
people's
actually
minds,
was quoted in the movie. So
yeah.
Well,
it's why he's the GOAT, you guys. It was a perfectly legitimate movie that was justified and
in some ways
very accurate representation of.
All right,
in some ways that movie is actually depending on how you count it, is still the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah. So before we move on, is there a time limit that you get to answer? Because that just seemed really weird that I had like 2 seconds and then you buzzed me out.
Once you shed some doubt,
that just seemed really quick. Because last time we played, people got like 10 seconds to answer.
Yeah. Well, if you buzz it and then just think that now that I don't have the because there's not a delayed timer anymore.
Hey, it gave me some points already. All right.
I'm not complaining about that. I'm complaining about the points I lost.
Yeah. Okay, we're moving on.
You guys are buzzing in way faster than I can for some reason. So
that's a problem. Okay. Let's do. Oh, Cypher. Yeah, two.
All right. Let's go with famous documents 200.
Okay. Makes sense. You're in a store,
breaking the combo.
This document, whose name means Great Charter, was written in June 15th, 2015. Chris, hurry. Too late.
Magna Carta. Runnymede, England. Do you want any more details?
Too late. No, you're good. Yeah, Magna Carta. Magna Carta. Sorry, not the Magna Carta. That's Jimmy Carter's.
He was great. The best post-presidency.
King John.
Oh, good job. All right, you're back.
You know what? Andy. Stick with famous documents for 400.
Let's do it. This ends by saying, proletarians of all countries unite. Go ahead, Tigerstar.
Communist Manifesto?
Yeah, that's totally 100%. True. It's got to be.
I couldn't.
Oh, God, I'm hearing a loud choir now. Oh, God, I'm hearing a bunch of Russian. Oh, God.
He's German, though, and he's buried in London.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Marx and Engels, but
you can also pay
where
to
the
see
loudest
his grave.
Voices were, because they actually, did the thing. So
yeah, he's buried at the Highgate Cemetery.
So funny that they use, England as their inspiration for what is wrong with just the world, and make a whole thesis about world history based off of spending, some years in London. That's how crappy England was to them.
If you look at most centuries, that's always a good candidate. There's very rarely a century in which England is not a good candidate to make fun of.
Marx also wrote a whole bunch about the United States and spent a good chunk of time in New York, and he was working for Horace Greeley at the time.
Right.
So.
All right, Tiger.
Famous document 600.
Famous document 600. Here we go. The oldest surviving treaty in history was between Egypt and this other civilization, 1259 BC. Tiger.
The Hittites.
That is correct. Yeah. Yep.
I knew it.
Oh. Yep. The oldest one we have. We have fragments of it. It's actually, they have, there's
that Ramses the Second?
They're all over the place.
Ramses the Great, yeah.
Oh, yeah, with Ramses. And then, I forgot the Hittite guy. He's like Hittitus or something. I don't know. Remember something that sounded. I remember like
that sounds like a disease.
You got a case of Hittitus. But they found this one. I know. I found here. This was in. Oh crap! Like Akkadian or something. There's it was written in a bunch of things. Like a lot of people knew about this.
Mm-hmm. I just got back from Egypt about a month ago, and Ramses put his name on everything. You recognize his cartouche instantly because it's on everything.
That's so cool. Anyway, all right. That was a good one. All right.
Famous documents 800.
Okay, we'll see if it gets harder, huh? The Slavery Abolition Act was passed by Parliament in this year. Tigerstar.
1837.
That is incorrect.
1833.
Cypher.
Yeah, it's earlier than that.
Cypher.
33.
That's correct.
Yep.
Was 1837 when it was implemented? Because wasn't
it had a gradual abolition. So there were some people freed literally in 1834, but some people weren't freed all the way until 1851. And then there was the continuation where some of them were forced into indentured servitude for 20 years. So that's a whole different thing. There were actually still people enslaved within the British Empire after abolition in the United States.
They're very bureaucratic about it.
Rick Wiles in chat. We'll see if you get this, but you may want to fast forward. A little behind. Stream. You're a little behind with Key West there, so.
Wasn't that like the very first
button? If we'll see there, but thanks for joining here.
Of course, he probably didn't just see you say that.
I know he's gonna see it. And we're gonna be gone by then, but thanks everybody. I am looking at chat. You guys are awesome in there. Again, if you guys want to super chat any questions at the end, make sure to acknowledge you guys. So, all right, but yeah, 1833 Abolition Act, famous document. Here we go. What would you like, Cypher?
Let's just continue down the board.
To finish it out. In this pamphlet in 1776, Thomas Paine wrote, "What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. 'Tis dearness only that gives everything its value." Chris?
Common sense.
Incorrect.
Oh, no, it's the other one at the end of the year.
Tiger.
I knew it. Oh!
I don't remember the name of it. That's why.
If I abstain from answering, do I still lose the point?
This is why.
Yeah, if you buzz in,
common sense, it would not have been a 1,000. I could tell you that. But you do know the other one.
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris, if you want to give a one unofficial guess.
American Crisis. There we go. Yeah.
These are the times that try men's souls. Yeah.
I couldn't come up with the name.
1776.
Interestingly, it does end with common sense, like I think at the end of it. So, or not common sense.
Well, it shows it on the thing where it says by the author of Common Sense.
Oh yeah.
At least we've more evened out the playing field now. We're kind of
it's all very even now. Oh, I can't believe I missed that.
I love this. Sometimes you might have to catch yourself if you.
This is why that's why I didn't buzz in. I was just going like, can't remember the name.
All right.
Still cynical historian.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Then let's go with 90s for 200.
All right. Hey, we were all alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't know how young.
Well, 96.
Okay.
90s. I was alive the entire decade, but
me too.
Oh,
for how much?
200. Oh,
200.
I thought you were asking when
the decade ended with this technological panic. This was fun, right, Chris?
Y2K.
Yeah. Did your computer
my computer was just fine.
Turn evil, and try to kill you or blow up or anything?
I swear you guys read faster than me.
Oh, I don't know, unless it's just loading up quicker. But yeah, wasn't this hilarious? If you young kids,
there's a whole lot of nothing.
Chris, go ahead and explain to the young kids.
I was 12.
What the
idea was that when people that all the computers that were made were not programmed to be able to handle switching from 1999 to 2000, and everybody thought everything was going to shut down because the computers were going to freeze up and mess up.
Yeah, planes are going to fall from the sky, and the nukes are going to launch, and it was. I feel like that was something somebody made up as a joke, and then it just kind of caught on.
Well, I think there were some computers too where the date only has 2 digits, so if it goes to 00, they would think it's 1900, and so they're like, oh well, what'll happen? But,
there was a specific Unix bug that could actually crash the computer, but all you had to do was restart it.
There you go.
Amazing. All you have to do is flip a switch, and suddenly the Y2K bug is done.
And now Microsoft sends us too many updates, and we wish we could go back.
Well, it was Unix anyway, so it's it ran a lot of banking systems, but it was really easy to fix.
If I remember, some marketing genius at that time was great, and they were selling computers that were Y2K compliant. They advertised it, I think, that way. And people, were like, great, that was brilliant. Whoever.
But remember last year though, how there was a Microsoft update that a lot of airports were using for their IT companies.
I was in an airport when that happened. Yeah,
that actually was a Y2K event in a way.
Yep.
Yeah. The update screwed up the entire transportation for a day.
There were banks that were running on Unix that had the problem. So I don't know if there were any actual outages or anything, but there were banks that had to patch their computers.
Cal in chat might be right that the whole thing actually was a marketing ploy to sell computers. That is the origination, and I would not.
I mean, it was a real bug. it was a real bug, but everybody blew it way the hell out of proportion.
Is there going to be a Y3K crisis? I mean,
probably maybe Y30K.
There you go.
Or maybe 40K.
The name of Andre's next album.
Now we're talking like old men, like because we lived through those.
Remember the
days.
day? Yeah.
Remember our days when in the 90s, the computers were going to turn on us. But let's go ahead and keep going. All right,
Woodrow Wilson for 800.
I don't know what that means.
You know what category I'm talking about. You're not going to make me say it.
All right, here we go. This messianic plan was Wilson's proposal for peace after World War I.
I love how that's worded. 14 points.
Professor Watt would like to make sure he was noted for that. So because the Messiah complex.
He had a Messiah complex. He totally.
And there was the Clemenceau who's like, "Oh, great! I'm going to the peace treaty with Jesus Christ and David Lloyd George."
Because there was an official within Wilson's not cabinet, but an advisor, just known colloquially as the Colonel, and he wrote a book in 1912, I believe, during the election that, like, basically portrayed Wilson as being the Messiah.
The Messiah.
I forgot the name of the book, but like, it's really funny if you want to try to read it, because it is just like, it is, as the kids these days say, it's glazing.
For all the hate that Wilson gets, I do appreciate the 14 points.
The 14 points are great. His problem was he was so inflexible about them.
What are you talking about? He freaking violated like half of them.
It just depended on where you were. Yeah.
Just looking at this list,
like,
this is
number
fantastic.
9. Wait.
And may have avoided the next war. Like, if it had gone through.
Order. Huh? Oh, number 6. Sorry. Number
Conquered
6.
Territories in Russia.
He violated that in 2 weeks.
Guys, I've got a peace plan. We just all need to get along and give everyone what they want and not complain about it, and then peace for our time.
Yeah,
what do you think,
that's
guys?
what happens. Right. All right, let's continue.
1,000.
Okay. All right. Some say she was the first female president. Go ahead, Cypher.
Edith Wilson.
Yep, Edith.
And yes, she was not. Not at all. That I actually busted that.
She wasn't actually, but
No, she people try to say that she was, like
the brains,
exercising undue influence, and that was purely court gossip. Like, this is court gossip that was turned into some sort of feminist fairy tale.
She's the female American version of Rasputin. Like, she was pulling the string.
Well, it's because she was passing notes between the cabinet and Wilson, but it was written in his hand. We have the notes. We have them.
But you see, he got a stroke. So what if she was using his hand to write?
I would like to note right now that this game is 600 points.
Biggest thing about that court gossip is that it comes from the one cabinet officer who got fired in the middle of this time. And so he was just embittered as heck and trying to make it seem like, she hated me all the time, and that's why.
Yeah, but my ex-wife can do a really good version of my signature, so...
Now I just want a movie where, like, Edith Wilson is just Rasputin and a bunch of people try to assassinate her, but they keep failing, and she just murders a bunch of people. That would be amazing.
Finally throw her in the Potomac River.
She's unkillable.
And then she gets sucked into, some netherworld and has to, try to bribe her way back out.
All right, I got to say, this is the most competitive for 3-way at this point in the game I think we have had in my.
I overtook Tigerstar. Yeah.
Everybody, literally everybody is one question away from being the lead. So, or going.
How many rounds is this?
This is the last one, and then there's final.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh yes, remember the final? Where you
if you're not up by more than your point total above second place, you can still lose.
That's true. Okay, let's keep going though. I know the chat is always like, move on, but we love history. Guys. Sorry. Watch it back again on double speed. All right, go ahead, Cypher. What do you like?
Let's go with famous speeches for 200.
Okay. I would like to say that for much you guys hate Woodrow Wilson, his category went very quick. So I don't know.
Well, get the unpleasant things out of the way,
Wait,
Like,
I'm sorry.
We don't dislike him out of ignorance. We dislike him because of we know him so well.
You guys have done extensive work and commentary. Sorry, you said famous speeches, right?
Yeah, 200.
All right, 200. Here we go. He improvised his most famous speech after Malia Jackson told him to tell him about the dream. Chris?
Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah. Tell him about the dream. And he did, and that's the thing everybody remembers.
Who's Malia Jackson?
Singer, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't she a singer?
There are many Jackson singers. I don't.
No, she wasn't one of the Jackson Five. Yeah,
that's a female name.
That was what Janet originally went by, but it was too close to Michael, so they decided to change it.
This is where I was wondering if it was literally a dream of his. I don't know.
I know the "I have a dream" thing was like not in his notes for that.
Yeah, it was improvised, but like, did he actually have a dream? Because she had heard about it, but I don't know if she was referencing like, "Hey, remember when you just told me you had a dream of this?" Or was like, did Martin Luther King actually have a dream of all the things? I don't know. Either way, very cool. All right. Let's see. That was
stick with that one. Famous speeches for 400.
All right, let's do it. In 1588, she said, "I know I have the body, but of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king."
And a king of England too. It's Elizabeth I.
It is. And this went up. I'm like,
this was before the Spanish Armada.
But do you believe her? Do you believe that, she did have that?
There were people at the time who reported on that speech, so she definitely said it.
That's why I guess it wasn't in spurious quotes. So that's pretty good. All right, the Queen.
Keep it going. 600 famous speeches.
Okay, here we go. John F. Kennedy's moon speech was given at this university on September 12th, 1962. Chris?
Rice University.
That is correct. Rice.
That's one of my favorite speeches of all time.
Because you love the moon?
Yeah, we choose to go to the moon and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
Hard, yes.
Good. Yep. Little Texas, huh? Okay. All right. That was good. That bumped you up because, again, these are big points right now.
Yeah.
So
I just got to make sure I don't miss any.
Nah,
don't let them get
you do have to play
800
defensive now, maybe. Okay. 800 famous speeches. Winston Churchill gave his Iron Curtain speech in this year.
I have a guess, but I'm not.
Iron Curtain has descended on the continent.
I'll do it.
Go ahead, Chris or Cypher.
1948. Damn.
That's why I won't buzz in.
Want to try a guess? You got 3.
I got a guess, but after you're done, I'll say it.
Not worth. Tiger, I'll let you do it. We're the last second.
49.
That's correct. Yep.
He also said it in Fulton, Missouri.
Yeah. He's got the gown on. Right?
Yeah, it was a commencement speech.
Yeah, I was wondering.
In the Baltic, the Christian Asiatic.
Wait, which part of Missouri?
Fulton. It's a very small town. I have no idea why he did it there.
What was he doing there?
It was a commencement speech, wasn't it?
It was, but
it looks like it. Yeah.
Well, it's just there's not even like a big college there. It's like a very.
He didn't have anything else to do. He wasn't prime minister anymore, so.
Yeah, but do it in St. Louis or something.
They must have thrown a lot of money at him, obviously. Like,
probably
why would
just
he be coming
a guest
there?
speaker, and he wasn't prime minister anymore. So.
I mean, Missouri kind of makes sense just because like Truman would have been like president.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
like it's like he's from Missouri, but then like I don't know why Fulton.
JD says
JD, who's from
Westminster
Missouri
College. Yeah. That's a little school there. There's a Westminster in Utah. Okay, very cool. All right, Tigerstar is up.
The Mild West 200.
The Mild West. All right, let's see some peace here. The Paris Peace Treaties of 1947 ended this war officially. Tigerstar. Yeah. WW2.
Every treaty's in Paris.
It is. We had to make sure, of course, to like add the dates and do all that because it's like, okay, which of the 1,000 treaties of Paris was it? So yeah, officially getting it done on paper.
And how many were done by a Louis and how many weren't done by a Louis?
Like what percentage of the treaties were Louis adjacent or something? All right. Tigerstar is still in control.
Mild West 400.
Mild West 400. Here we go. The first treaty between the U.S. and a Native American tribe was with the Lenape, the namesake of this first state. Tigerstar.
Delaware.
That's
I'm
right.
descended from the Lenape. I can't believe I didn't get that.
Oh no, your ancestors are
My ancestors. Yeah,
You're going to be haunted. Next time you smoke some hallucinogenic thing for your tribal practices, they're going to come visit and torment you or something. I don't know. Awesome. All right. And everything went well for everyone involved.
Right.
Oh, gosh.
All right. They got a whole state kind of misnamed after them. So
True. All right, you're creeping right back up on Chris's heels here. With
Cats are good at that. Mild West 800.
Mild West 800. Here we go. The Treaty of Bretigny, signed between the French king, King John II, and this English king, ended the first phase of the 100 Years' War. Chris.
Edward III.
That is correct. Good old Eddie. Eddie III.
My favorite king.
The Henrys.
That was very, I think, favorited to you, but I don't know. I don't think you went into the treaties and all that stuff. There's a lot of kings. It's a long war. It's like, okay. Anyway.
Mild West for 1,000.
Which one?
Mild West for 1,000.
Okay. Mild West. Here we go. The Peace of Westphalia ended both the 30 Years' War and this much longer conflict. Tigerstar.
80 Years' War?
That's correct.
I didn't want to lose 1,000 points.
Yeah. Okay, can we all agree no more wars need to be named after how long they were?
Especially since almost everyone is incorrect in terms of the number of years.
Right.
It's just
it's an estimate.
We can be so creative with our wars, and I guess maybe the longer it is, it's hard to get a name for it because it goes through multiple generations. It doesn't have like a feel. It's over different things. But I don't know. We can do better.
I mean, the on and off 127 Years' War doesn't have the same ring to it as 100 Years' War. So,
the 7 Years' War is 9 years.
Yeah.
From a certain point of view,
7's a cooler number. Yeah.
I mean, if you're Eurocentric, I guess.
9 in the Americas.
But I thought we weren't supposed to be
India.
Eurocentric.
Yeah, right. All right. Wow, we are close again. Look at this. Okay, go ahead, Tiger.
There better be a question about grunge somewhere in here. 90s, 400.
He was the lead man for something. Stone Temple Pilots. Okay, here we go. All right, 400. Here we go. Iraq invaded this nation on August 2nd, 1990. Tigerstar.
Kuwait.
First. Who or where?
Kuwait.
He said it. Yeah.
Right. Kuwait is correct. And that
was still third.
I don't know. New Mexico internet. Sorry. The person that's on the bicycle.
The only one who's been there.
the person that's on the bicycle powering the internet in 3, like slowing down a little bit.
Well, Cypher, since you were in the armed forces, I believe you have too much trigger discipline.
There you go. That's the problem.
Yeah. You have any comments on Kuwait? You went. I mean, I know you always.
How was your experience in Kuwait?
Yeah.
I spent Christmas there. It wasn't fun.
There you go. That's all you got to know. Oil. All right, here we go. 3. There's 4 questions left. Still a lot of points though. Here we go. Go ahead, Tiger.
1990, 600.
Here we go. This eccentric Texan ran for president twice.
Oh, come on!
What's the Reform Party? Tigerstar.
Rash Perot.
Yeah.
Now, listen here. We're going to look under the hood and we're going to try to fix this problem.
Which I want to make a plug-in. There's a great channel called Secret Base, and they normally just do sports stuff, but they randomly did a video on a multi-video series on the history of the Reform Party, and it is the best video series that I've seen on this topic. It is so good. It goes from Ross Perot all the way to the chaotic 2000 convention.
Just in terms of like 3D graphical explanations, it is like on a whole different level in terms of
very well done.
God, his ears were so big.
I don't want to be that guy, but and it doesn't matter at this point. But Tigerstar actually got a really expensive question wrong earlier.
Oh, do we have a fact check?
The Iron Curtain speech was in early 1946, which is what I was going to buzz in and say.
Iron Curtain speech. Oh my gosh.
If you want to take off the points, go ahead.
You're right. It was 46. Why did I put 47? Why was I thinking 47?
He said 49.
Yeah, I said 49.
Yeah, I said 48. He said 49.
Oh, everyone was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't buzz in, but yeah, the other two were wrong.
Sorry, Tigerstar. That is fair.
No, go ahead. Take the points off.
I forgot how much it was worth, though.
Was that 1,000? No.
I did an upside down 6. Chat,
it was 600 or 800.
Chat, can someone go back? We'll fix it later. All right. After they do that, go ahead and go back and see what points were. But we still got 3 left, so we'll get those going. Tiger, go ahead.
90s 800.
90s 800. Here we go. In 1993, this Russian president staged the October coup. Chris?
Boris Yeltsin.
That's Boris, man. He had to get Gorby out, right?
My buzz button is frozen.
I was thinking that earlier because Tigerstar kept beating me and everything.
Is it actually, are you sure?
Yeah, no, it was like literally like depressed and like not coming back up.
Yeah, that's that New Mexico internet. That's what I was dealing with earlier.
Sticky buttons there. All right, 800 points.
Internet.
It was 800.
So that means he actually loses 1,600.
Yeah, right. You're actually right. That sucks.
Okay. Explain that math to me.
You missed it, so you actually lose the 800 you got for getting it right and lose 800 for getting it wrong.
Makes sense.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Should go to, okay, wait, he's at 52. So we got to go down to 3,600. Okay. All right. Just so you know, this is going to be a very depressing sound right now. I cannot change the sound. It's going to sound really bad here. Okay, here we go. Ready?
I find it interesting how we have a question about a coup when this happens. A question about a coup right as the lead is taken from me.
That was right. And JD, I saw went in on that. He was our fact checker there. So,
but no, that's fair. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
why does that one guy? One guy looks like freaking.
Yeah, he's sad.
What? The one guy looks like freaking that conspiracy theorist guy.
I just like the guy over here with like the.
Oh my gosh! It is Alex Jones.
That's sad.
Alex Jones. Yeah, it looks like
Alex Jones.
Oh my God!
The guy right next to Yeltsin.
It's Russian Alex Jones.
I like the guy over here with like the jogging suit on. And then there's the guy in like the military outfit who's like crying.
This is just it. Okay, so you have Alexi Jones. Okay,
We'll
call that, and it shows all the different social classes here. You got
Putin behind him,
the dude with hair. And I guarantee this guy with the jumpsuit wore this jumpsuit the rest of his life.
The dude behind him actually.
The Eastern European jumpsuit stereotype, is big.
Yeah.
The military guy is not very happy. This guy's like, yes, this guy's fist bumping. You have a hippie, like a yuppie in the back here holding up.
Is that Steve Jobs? That looks like Steve Jobs.
You got Steve Jobs.
The reason why the soldiers crying is because they're standing on a tank and he was part of the coup. He was literally part of the coup.
Ashamed.
And they're literally like Yeltsin is there making a speech about how much of a punk little he is. And he's doing it in front of cameras.
Yeah.
Like I'm not joking. That's actually what's going on in this picture.
No, for sure. That totally makes sense. All right. I think you could actually convince Alex Jones, like if you
that he was transported by aliens over to Russia.
Nothing he would say or do would surprise me.
I think I was. My brother Alexi, at least. There are 2,000 points on the board still, and there's 2 questions left, which could. I mean, Tiger, if he clean up both these, would actually be in the lead here.
And since I never got that question, that should mean we should bring back all the questions back so we go in the proper
we have to
order.
rewind.
Yeah.
With the same questions.
Back up to that point.
Because there's no guarantee we would hit the buzzer the exact same time in each time. So
all right, Chris, what are you feeling more right here?
Famous speeches for 1,000.
Okay, here we go. In 1851, she said, "Look at me, look at my arm. I have plowed and planted and gathered into barns, and no man could heed me." Tigerstar.
Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Oh, that's what I was saying.
I have no idea.
Great guess, though.
That's exactly who I was thinking.
3.
Harriet Tubman wasn't making many speeches in 1851.
No, that's true.
Answer. Sojourner Truth.
Oh, well, I mean, similar.
Yeah, you're in the right frame of mind.
Yep.
All right. I like that you went big on that, though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I've got nothing to lose anymore. So
last
you
one.
go in, and we'll see what happens. All right. Okay, it's just the last one. Here he goes. 1990s for 1,000. The James Webb Telescope is a replacement for this one, launched in 1990.
Hubble.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh.
The Hubble. I love the Hubble.
But the Webb is awesome. What the Webb can do?
It's so cool. I love it. What?
But the Hubble's gotten multiple upgrades over the years, so it's actually
pretty impressive though for one that went up in what year was it again? That went up like 90 or 89.
They took it up in the space shuttle. Yeah,
pretty amazing. And they would give it a boost. Now, is it still up? Is it like?
I think it's still up there. Yeah.
Is it still up there? Is it still taking pictures? Is it do stuff? I don't remember.
Yeah.
My son Eli and I do a lot of astrophotography. It's a lot of fun stuff, and those things take amazing pictures.
I hope that rather than it just like going into reentry and burning up, I hope they can preserve this thing. This thing needs to be in a museum, somehow. I don't know if you can get some kind of capturing device.
They'd have to go up and capture it. Yeah,
it would be hard, and the thing's huge, right? So but I hope we can.
We don't have a space shuttle to go up and grab it now.
That's true. We just need like LeBron James or something to just jump up.
Elon Musk to come up with something.
Elon.
While he's busy not dozing.
We need to give him something else to do. So he can,
somebody give him something to do quick.
He can go and send his and then in the same one send another.
Problem is like all of his devices, it'll end up blowing up in re-entry.
I hope. Yeah, I hope not. All right. Okay. Now it's real, you guys. It is very, very real because we're going to be going into the final now. Speaking of space, the category is the space race. It is the space race. Now, this is the final showdown. So you guys go ahead and enter your wagers. The one that probably has to think about the most is Chris here because he's got to do some math, I guess. But hitting that Hubble on the last one was pretty important. So
I think we all know what Chris is going to do, and we're all doomed.
Mathematically speaking,
6,000 points. You know what I mean? Like just to make it interesting. But go ahead and enter your wagers.
We only double our points, right?
What?
Yeah. So
anyway,
bet it all and like lose to Chris no matter what.
Nothing to lose, nothing to win. Might as well.
All right. Wagers are in. Okay. Again, category is the space race, and here we go. I'm keeping it simple. He was the first first man put into outer space. I do have to mute it because I don't want to get DMCA'd with the Jeopardy theme. So, anyways, go ahead and submit your answers. First man put into space. Nice to hear the typing.
I should have
Chris feels good about it. Chris feels good.
I don't actually remember.
He died later. He died in a training accident later on.
I'm very upset. I can visualize him
right
in my head, and I cannot remember the name. So I'm going out with a bang.
Alan Shepard.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
All right.
Buzz Lightyear.
Let's go ahead and
that's actually what I put.
All right. That's awesome.
Let's go ahead and look at the answers first. Let's go ahead and look at the answers first.
Did Chris actually
Let's
get
put
it
in
right?
Yuri Gagarin.
Damn it, that's his name. Yep.
Yeah, he died in a training accident in a
Tigerstar.
or something later.
I haven't.
You went out with a bang.
Chat, I'm gonna need to know if that's acceptable or not. It's pretty close, but
it's not. But it's really good.
Yeah,
you get to burn out or fade
give
away.
him the points anyway.
Yeah, right. Give him the points. Why not?
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. up and away.
I think
that's what he
was.
I think in celebration of the Soviet system and in memorial of it, we should equally distribute the points of Chris's victory and all end with a tie.
Chris, does Tigerstar have your permission to count that as equal to your point value? I don't know.
You mean the points that I won on the final Jeopardy? I give 333 to everybody.
333? Okay, so I'm assuming you've already done the math, but
well, 999 is what I bet.
Yeah.
So give 333
to each of us. Yuri Gagarin. That is true. We'll give it to them. We'll go ahead and get. I like it.
Just let everybody win. Yeah, everybody got it right.
You want me to give it to everybody? Okay, we're all doing
Yeah,
that.
Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear is correct.
He may be the reincarnation of Yuri Gagarin, just Americanized, but that may happen there. But we're gonna go ahead. We'll go ahead and put yes. Let's go ahead and reveal the answer. The answer is you're all wrong. No, you're kidding. It is Yuri Gagarin. Went up in space. What a view this guy had. What do you guys think of the idea of Americans didn't win the space race?
Oh, no, we totally did. We just didn't win the first part of it. We didn't get the first satellite. We didn't get the first man. But
I mean, it all depends like where you put the finish line at, because like we're the first to the moon, but the Soviets were the first to Mars and to Venus in terms of sending satellites there. So
we hit every milestone except basically for the one that we said. Okay,
bottom line is,
what's the game over?
The perception is that the Americans won the space race.
Yeah, if we're going by like just distance, also,
yeah,
we won.
Well, no, because like the Soviets sent a craft to Mars.
Yeah, but we sent one out of the solar
we have
system.
One,
sure.
Yeah, we have Voyager.
Two of them, in fact.
Yeah.
Once we hit the moon.
Has Voyager 2 gotten out of the solar system?
It's pretty close, if not. Let's see.
Which one? Voyager?
Voyager 2.
Voyager 2. I know Voyager 1's out out in the Oort cloud now.
Way past it now, right?
We've sent one past Pluto at this point, because I know
we've sent a bunch past Pluto.
It's in like
we're way past.
It might be in like interstellar.
But we have one in the Oort cloud. That's Voyager 1.
Oort. All right, let's go ahead and just see what ended up happening here, though, with the actual stats. Yes.
So
the winner.
I'm coming for you, JD.
Blogging through history, which gets a rematch.
Wait,
JD of History Underground.
I just want to point out that the guess at the beginning of this, in terms of like who would win, came out at exactly the correct point value.
You are right.
That's true. The percentages were pretty darn close. That's true.
That was.
It turns out the polls are relatively accurate at predicting these things. We make the same mistake every time. The polls miss once, and they're never correct.
My first problem is that his team name is Untitled.
Yeah.
Well, that means I never actually lost.
There you go. I would go with that.
So bad.
I would totally go with that.
Put your name in. Like the internet just canceled out. But you can see the wagers there. He won a big $9.99. These guys went all in and won it anyways. But
I went a very safe $9.99. Yeah.
Oh, that worked there. So
yeah, there was
now that does mean we have our final
for us to win after that point.
Absolutely awesome. All right.
You know what? If we did it again tomorrow with different categories, any one of us could have won.
So many of those categories I was not prepared for.
It all depends on the categories. You just never know.
But it's amazing because, I mean, you're a PhD scholar, but obviously that focuses you so much.
Right.
When you
if we'd have done the Wild West, he would have destroyed us.
Well, it's
I saw Mild West and I was like, let's do this.
And the categories are Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and San Luis Obispo, California. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let me ask you, Wyatt Earp, good guy, bad guy, in between?
I don't make such judgments.
That's fair.
He,
good guy,
he had a checkered past, but also, he was really important in terms of the expansion of the Western genre in Hollywood and everything. So I really like him for that.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that people forget is that like he was on set for a lot of early Westerns.
Yeah, like Tom Mix and those guys. Yeah.
He's buried in Hollywood.
Yep.
How about best Wyatt Earp related movie?
Oh, Tombstone's the best movie, but Wyatt Earp's the most accurate, I think. Okay. Cypher would be better at that, though.
Tombstone's great. I love that movie. But
by the way, rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
But also, not exactly a movie, but my favorite depiction of Wyatt Earp is in like 1968 on Star Trek. Oh, nice. Because they actually travel back in time and go to the actual court proceedings.
After the OK Corral?
There wasn't much of a court proceeding after that, but
you're talking about the
after the
Huckleberry.
After the revenge quest, basically.
The Vendetta ride, yeah.
Yeah, Vendetta ride. That's the word.
Now I want to sitcom Western called My Name is Earp.
I like that. I want to thank everybody for being here. If any of you guys, by the way, need to leave, It's okay. Otherwise, I'm taking questions from.
I'll stick around for a little bit.
I can stay for a bit.
Y'all good for hang out a minute?
I'm home alone. I got nothing to do.
Awesome. Let's talk history with the
We
folks,
read
so.
books. Do you think we have anywhere else we need to be?
I don't know. We're history.
Tigerstar just said we're a bunch of nerds.
Proudly.
Yeah, amen. Amen, brother.
We've all made a career out of it.
If you guys in chat have any questions for our awesome historian panelists here, go ahead. You can send in. I got some super chats. I'll definitely get to those. Real quick, these aren't questions, but just want to shout out. Thank you, Dan the Man, for doing some history or some memberships to the channel. Anybody has a channel membership gets early access to all of my videos and all past live streams.
I thought you said past life for a second there. All past lives.
Thank you so much for gifting those, Dan. All right, we did have one from the Dalton League. Thank you for the $5. This is for Chris. You should ask Chris if he's excited for this Nebraska rematch and for his butt whipping in college football.
I host a
NCAA
25 dynasty on Xbox, and we're in our third, I think, season 3 now. And
by the way, I love that.
He joined as Nebraska last year, and so I'm Ohio State.
You're in it.
He's in the Big Ten with me, and he kicked my butt. So yeah,
I'm so glad that game's back. College football.
Oh yeah,
I had so much fun with. I played with Utah and I did the dynasty for like 20 years.
We have a blast. There's like 15 of us in it, and we're all like recruiting against each other and playing each. Oh, it's great. A lot of fun.
That's all. All right. So awesome. Thank you, Dalton League. All right. Malik wants to know from Tigerstar and Cypher, most overrated historical figure. Do you have any that come to mind?
Wilson.
You think he's overrated or just underhated? I don't know.
That's a good point. Underhated. I like that.
Underhated is better because everyone agrees he's significant.
Yeah.
That does not mean
true.
that he is universally beloved.
Yeah.
Napoleon? No, he's not overrated at all.
I don't
he's
think,
underrated.
I don't think it's
underrated.
possible to overrate him.
No, it's not possible to overrate Napoleon.
I might be a little biased as the map guy, but he took like 400 German states and brought it down to like 40. That's like, from a map drawing perspective, that saved me a lot of time, and I really appreciate that. It makes it a lot easier
from a career perspective. That's funny. By the way, Napoleon did win my March Madness this year. We did famous monarchs, and he found his way into it as a self-proclaimed, I guess, monarch here. Say what you will, but listen,
I'm a Napoleon guy. I got to defend him for a minute here. There were a whole lot of assassination attempts going on
for sure
that kind of pushed him into that declaring himself a monarch.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like a lot of debate on like whether he's like a quote unquote good figure or a bad figure. Because that seems to be going back and forth each generation. But
the comparisons of him to like
from book
Stalin
to book.
or Hitler are ridiculous.
And
that's what it is.
And somebody wrote in I can't remember the name of the author, but he's written a number of Napoleon books, and he started off the one that I used by saying, for every year that Napoleon has been dead, there have been at least 5 books with his name in the title.
Holy crap.
And that book was written in like 1996. It's only gotten worse.
You're saying there's no shortage of work done on Napoleon.
Yeah, but and to answer the question, if we
narrow
it down to rather than the entirety of history, but like my own subject, the American Southwest, Billy the Kid, while I've written a lot about him and everything, is way overrated.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a fun story.
Yeah, I don't know enough.
There was a point in the 1970s where there had literally been more depictions of Billy the Kid than Jesus Christ in Hollywood movies.
That's crazy.
I'm not joking.
I'm not surprised, but that's crazy.
And like, yeah, like you bring up Wyatt Earp, and a lot of people seem to juxtapose those two because like Arizona, New Mexico, but like when it comes to depictions and raving about him, all the and talking about him constantly, it's Billy the Kid, like by far.
Yeah,
I agree
with that when you're talking about the Southwest for sure.
You got one, Tiger?
And remember, I actually write about him.
Speaking of like Wild West kind of guys, I am a descendant of Wild Bill Hickok.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
I found that
So,
out. My
I will
mom
say this
told-
about Billy the Kid and Wyatt Earp, and
Wait,
I thought this was
Hickok,
always
not-
kind of cool.
not
They do have kind of a connection
Wild Bill?
through Dave Rudabaugh.
Hmm.
Dave Rudabaugh was captured with Billy the Kid at Stinking Springs, and Wyatt Earp met Doc Holliday while he was trying to find Dave Rudabaugh.
Okay. Right on. All right. Well,
The,
if you think of one,
it was Hickok, not Hickman. I mean,
I thought it was Hickok.
Does Hickok have any kids though?
because I thought
maybe it's Hickman.
Also, Hickman was Mormon. You know, he was a
Yeah,
Mormon
yeah.
hitman.
I remember the Wild Bill part more than.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they sound very similar,
Hickman,
but
Hickok,
Wild Bill Hickok got his name from.
It should have been
Wild
figured
Bill
out though which one
Hickman.
actually gets to be like a Wild Bill, you know. And the
I
other
don't
one
think Wild Bill had any kids.
Wild Bill
Hickok.
Hickok
Okay,
was-
then that's the other one. I knew it was a Wild Bill.
Wild Bill Hickok wasn't even the last Wild Bill. I mean, Buffalo Bill Cody often went by Wild Bill too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, was it Cody? It actually might be Cody. I got to get back. I know it was one of the Wild Bills.
Well, I mean, Cody has a lot of. I actually recently reviewed a book called Buffalo Bill and the Mormons.
What a fascinating band.
Well, Buffalo
remember,
Bill did have kids. So, yeah.
My descendancy comes from, it's not from the Mormon line of my ancestry though. I'm pretty sure it's on my mom's side. Who
Well,
doesn't come from that.
Hickman was not a Mormon by the end. Oh, he was super excommunicated.
Okay. All right. No,
he turned into a major Mormon hater.
I've got two answers.
Okay.
If this one's kind of a lame answer, but I think it's a more honest answer, King Tut. Just because he had a cool tomb, he had some shiny, sparkly stuff. The others did too. They just got stolen first. But in terms of his significance to Egypt is not really that high.
All I know about his rule was him reversing his father's.
Akhenaten.
His father was trying to make Aten, right? But
that was going to happen anyway.
Then he reversed it.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
Do we know anything about him before finding the tomb?
We did a little bit. There's me with King Tut. I know you can't really see it.
We can't really see it.
Oh wait. Oh, there you go. Me with King Tut.
That's awesome. So that is in the
That's in his tomb in the Valley of the Kings. Yeah.
Oh, they've kept his body in the
tomb.
His
is the only one that's actually still in his own tomb. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
All the other ones are at the museum in Cairo.
All the other like Valley of the Kings tombs.
All the Valley of the Kings tombs, like Ramses II, all those like 18th, 19th, 20th dynasty, they're all in the Museum of Egyptian Civilization in Cairo.
Where's his mask at these days?
That's in the Egyptian Museum, but it's getting ready to be moved to the new Grand Egyptian Museum, which is right by the pyramids.
That thing's supposed to be amazing, right?
It is. I got to see it a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it's amazing.
Dude.
The other one I'll give,
a lot of cool travel.
Yeah.
He's still important, but I think he needs to be knocked down a peg, is Thomas Edison.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that he invented
Tesla.
Nothing. He invented some stuff, but he didn't invent everything people said he invented. And I'm tired of acting like he's the American Leonardo da Vinci when he's not.
He was a businessman.
The light bulb is his famous invention, but he invented the practical light bulb.
He perfected it.
The practical light bulb. It's on the patent. It literally says the practical light bulb because the light bulb had already been around for 80 years.
All he did was come up with a filament that made it available. That's the thing people don't think about with inventions.
And he didn't do it alone.
Flat screen TVs were around in the 80s, but they weren't practical. They weren't affordable. It took a while to get to that technology, and that's what Thomas Edison did. He made it practical and affordable.
Practical light bulb. That's cool. Holy on the side, one of my longest supporters. Didn't have a question, but thank you so much for your $20 throughout my whole YouTube career. He's been in the military, bouncing around the planet, so he's a serviceman. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Colin asked, "Do y'all think Genghis Khan will ever be found?" Gosh,
Don't we think we know where he might be?
Yeah,
it's so hard to do because there's so many rumors about it.
He's on the steps. Somewhere in there.
That narrows it down. Yeah,
but
kind of like Alexander the Great, same thing.
Yeah,
we knew where Alexander the Great was buried, and we might actually
for a time. Yeah,
we might actually have a pretty good idea as to where the tomb is currently.
Yeah. Dies in Babylon,
around it,
goes to Alexandria, and then back to Macedon. Is that what they
Alexandria? stayed there.
Alexandria, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
because
ever
like
sent back to
Julius Caesar
Macedon?
visited Alexander the Great's tomb. It was like well known even in his day.
It
Where it
was.
was in
For
Alexandria.
some reason I wanted to say they eventually
Yeah,
sent
he
it
was
back to
actually
Macedon, but
like his body was still well enough preserved that like I think Caesar like literally touched it.
Yeah.
he was like poking it. Like
Well, he was mummified. Yeah. Because he
Yeah.
was a pharaoh in his mind. Yeah.
But in terms of Genghis Khan, it's
yeah.
also the fact that he was buried with so many others in like this grand fashion that you know, we might find the tomb, but we won't know which body because it's going to be a ton of other bodies. There, I mean, what was it, like 400 people were killed?
Start doing DNA tests. Of course, half of those guys might be his son too. Who knows?
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, what 100 people share his DNA? They say so.
I think it's one. Yeah, it's like a ridiculously high number have his Y chromosome DNA.
By the way, that whole I recently saw a recently, like 2 years ago, I saw a thing that whole idea of, you know, these people are related to, it's related to a bogus study that was actually meant to be a joke.
Don't break my.
Wait, you're saying that something on the internet isn't true?
You really think
saying somebody would
that?
log into the onto the internet and just lie?
Well, they say if you are, you know, live in Eurasia, you are either related to Genghis Khan or Charlemagne. So,
well, if you're living in England, there's like a equal chance you're descended from Edward III. So same kind of thing.
I love that.
It's just it's a numbers game.
By the way, and if you don't know, the final of my historical March Madness, the championship was Charlemagne versus Napoleon, and Napoleon won out. So
the guy who started the Holy Roman Empire and the guy who ended it.
Exactly. I love it. It was a great bookend.
Napoleon had guns, so
technically that was who was, I forgot the name of the guy, but the Holy Roman Emperor himself ended it. And just
was that Francis II? Was it
Francis II? Yeah.
Gunpoint,
and then he became Francis I.
Yeah, had a choice.
Austria,
The Genghis Khan one again will be interesting because if the stories are true, right? All those people were buried with him, and then they killed the people that buried those guys.
Yeah,
kind of like with Shimon
Hawaii.
Like,
so Hawaii, same deal.
There's so many bodies associated with that it's going to be near impossible to tell which one's Genghis Khan.
If they did do it, I mean, maybe it'll stand out if it's, you know, got a cool sarcophagus. So maybe it's a little bit better than the other ones, I guess. But
well, isn't it like Mongol tradition that you're buried in a like carpet and like done so
in the air, like in the open air, I guess, right? Isn't it supposed to kind of? Well, I don't know about that, but you can.
I believe is Tibet. You're thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Sky burials. Yeah, I think that's a Tibetan thing. But but
rolled up,
like buried in a carpet, and very plainly, like that's traditional, even with
they're
rulers.
plain folks, right?
No, but like that's why the whole like killing all the people who were like buried him, and then who knew where the burial was, and you know, several layers to make it secret and everything was like part of it. So I doubt that he'd have some sort of special sarcophagus or anything, because that would be like completely against the entire burial.
That makes sense too. Yeah. Or it was one of the things they said they like diverted a river to cover the tomb, the burial site.
Oh yeah.
Which makes it even harder, but all right.
I'm just looking at JD's comment.
Oh, what do we got? Listen, JD is usually gold. Oh, okay. Let's see. Hold on. Should we jump to his? I'll make sure to get to everybody's, no doubt. But if JD did have a timely one, no question here. But here's $5 to take Chris out at the kneecaps. I'll have Tanya Harding before.
That could have been a 1990s question.
Oh,
Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding.
Also, woman hit. Yeah.
Also, that could have had better timing. Do it before everything was cooed away from me.
Hey, just for the record, it didn't matter in the end because I was the only one that got the Final Jeopardy question right. So.
Well, no. Because see, what the plan would be is that your knees would be broken and you'd have to pay for your medical bills out of your winnings. So by the end, I would technically have the most money left over.
There you go. All right, I can't argue with that.
You'd have to take. He could still compete with a broken leg. So we have to figure out.
It would have been painful.
Yeah, we're all sitting in chairs.
Yeah. Vasily, thank you so much.
There is such a thing as the wheelchair Olympics.
57 months, super impressive. But this one just said, "I'm broke as hell." But congrats, Chris.
That channel hasn't even been around that long.
That's
awesome.
like I think he's one of the first month I got it. So
That's cool.
Thank you so much.
That's really cool.
I appreciate it. Oh, Holy Omnisci came back. He's a man of no words, but wanted to give 10 memberships. Thank you again, my friend, my longtime friend. All right, Dalton's got one from no, it's another $5. Thank you. Best Admiral Naval Commander. Okay, for me it goes Admiral Yi. Never loses.
He's got to be in that conversation, right?
I love the Admiral Yi story.
I don't think you can compare people from different time periods, but Admiral Yi has to be in that conversation.
I just love turtle ships as well, and the major reason why I will play as the Koreans in Age of Empires is just so I can make the turtle ships because they're so cool. I love those. But and then the little you guys, I don't know, you guys play AOE? It's great. The war wagons. Is that
play what?
Was that China or
Age of Empires?
In Age of Empires, yeah. But anyway, I just love the turtle ships, even though they're like too expensive in the game. But all right, you guys, what do you got? You got favorite naval commander?
I've got a physical answer. Just
we're going pirate.
There you go. Now you know.
That doesn't narrow it down.
No, it actually narrows it down very clearly.
Yeah, it does. It's Nelson.
Nelson, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of a bunch of pirates with
really, have you been to London, Cypher?
No.
He's buried underneath St. Paul's. Really cool down there. There's all kinds of like admirals and stuff, and Nelson's right there in the center. It's awesome.
I've just never liked that there's a guy named Horatio that's from, there.
Can we just point out he was several inches shorter than Napoleon?
Oh, but was he normal?
But he had a really tall hat.
Yeah, he did have a tall hat. And he died in his greatest victory, which is like the way to go out, right?
Right. That's like if I could go and just see a battle, like be in a balloon or something, it would be Trafalgar.
Yeah, that was an incredible victory.
From a lot of smoke walking near you from all the boats on fire.
There's something I love about just tall ships, and like we don't have many movies that like do it justice,
Yeah. Master Commander's a good movie though, even though
it's only one-on-one. Yeah, I want to see lines of ships,
Yeah. I have a very weaselly answer, and I'm going to say FDR. And the reason why I say FDR is because two reasons. A, when he was Secretary of the Navy,
Assistant Secretary of the Navy.
Sorry, Assistant Secretary of the Navy. He was taking a tour on one of the boats, and there was like a storm, and they kind of panicked. He said, "Oh, this can't be too hard." And then he just drove the ship and actually succeeded. So he has driven a boat, and he was made Admiral of Nebraska. Which,
oh my God, that's amazing.
There is an honorary title given out by the state of Nebraska called the Nebraska Admiralty, and it's been given to people ranging from FDR to Queen Elizabeth II. So technically an admiral.
Assistant to the admiral, not assistant admiral.
Got a little office reference there.
Yeah.
I just thought of one that's greatest admiral of Arizona. There was an admiral of Arizona, and very much like having an admiral of Nebraska, but this was real.
He just sailed around Lake Havasu.
Not he.
Or something.
She.
Oh, she. Okay.
Nellie Bush. And it was basically in protest of building the dam that now I forgot the name of the dam, but it's
the Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam.
No, it was not in protest. The Hoover Dam had been planned since the 1920s, but this was the one that made Lake Havasu. I can't remember the name of it, but
which is where London Bridge
basically
is,
Arizona invaded California and then like refused to allow people to cross, and she owned the boat company, and therefore she was the admiral. This happened in like what 1936, 1938, something like that.
She raided spring break parties on Lake Havasu, Viking style.
But this is a real thing that happened. Like
That's
it's
awesome.
it totally for show, but like she was an admiral.
Technically speaking, I liked the. I think it was on your show, for your first one, Chris. I didn't know until I did that with about John Paul Jones ended up being admiral for Russia, the Russian. Military or Navy. I thought that was I want to look more into that because that seems so weird. But like
my favorite fact with him, I have an unhealthy obsession with pictures of exhumed famous people. And
I think you said that
John Paul
before.
Jones was buried in like pure alcohol, and so when they dug him up in like about 100 years ago to rebury him at Annapolis, there's pictures of his mummified corpse that you can look at online.
Does he still look right?
He looks like, I mean, you can see his long hair and stuff. Just Google John Paul Jones.
It helped preserve him, you're saying?
Yeah.
It did help the preservation. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Dalton, like beef jerky. Yeah.
Dalton came back again. Thank you so much for another 10. Said, I know that I'm from Nebraska and it's so cool. Yeah.
I wanted to look up to double check. It was the USS Flusser, which was a 1,300-ton destroyer, and FDR sailed it through the hazardous Lubeck Strait between Campobello Island and the mainland. And before he took the wheel, Admiral William F. Halsey said the fact that a white flanneled yachtsman can call a catboat out to a buoy and back is no guarantee that he can handle a high-speed destroyer in narrow waters. But then FDR did it, and later he said, Mr. Roosevelt made his first turn. I saw him look aft and check the swing of our stern. My worries were over. He knew his business, and then he never mentioned it ever again because he was embarrassed.
Well, I mean, FDR was like big into boating when he was going to college and everything. So
yeah,
it's he didn't, you don't mess with American boats. It's part of that. So Anthony wanted me to ask this question. So I guess this is for anybody. Why does Omar Bradley get overshadowed when it comes to American generals for the Army in World War II? We always talk about Patton, Eisenhower, MacArthur, Marshall. I don't know. Is it just because there's just so many?
All those other ones are either we're in charge of their theater or we're in charge of like Patton, is flashy and kind of full of himself. Eisenhower was Supreme Commander of Europe. MacArthur was Supreme Commander and part of Pacific. Marshall was the Chief of Staff of the Americans. Omar Bradley just did his job. He wasn't flashy.
Also, Bradley himself was very much did not want to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And he even wrote the key book in the Patton movie.
Yeah, I was going to say he was an advisor for the Patton movie.
You're saying Patton didn't want to be?
No, Bradley didn't want to. There's that anecdote in the
Patton didn't.
that anecdote in the Patton movie where it shows Bradley coming up and he's literally shoved up against a berm getting shot at, and some soldier goes like, "Who's in charge here?" And he's like, "I don't know, but whoever it is, might as well hang him."
It was him. Yeah.
No, you said you're not related to that Patton, right?
I am.
Oh, you are. I forgot if you said you were kind of how direct or indirect.
Yeah, very indirect. In fact, there's a question as to whether or not it's true, but it's family lore. But like that was that anecdote wasn't in his book. That was given on set.
Yeah.
Like that was him saying, "This is what happened. You want to include it in a movie?" Very cool. Like that's a point where a movie actually brought a new quote to life. That was a real quote.
Yeah, Bradley lived until like 1980. So yeah, he was an advisor on that movie that was made in the early 70s. That's one of the reasons why so much of it's accurate.
And there's also like there's a real point made in the movie to not show all the antagonism between Patton and Eisenhower, because Ike had like literally died the year prior or something like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll say this is for everyone.
I did a video on it.
If you guys could interview somebody for maybe a historical project or research that you'd like to do, who would you like to interview historically, if you could? Obviously, let's say somebody who's dead now.
Okay, historical character.
Yeah, like you, Cypher. Someone in your maybe your Western history stuff. There's a guy you would love to really actually hear it from him. Anything like that?
I mean, I've been doing a ton of research into the Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Oh yeah,
Lee, which we could have talked to Lee.
No.
Okay.
I wish I could have punched Lee.
I was really
talk to
portrayal of that in what was it, American Primeval?
Right.
It made it look like it was over in like 10
minutes. I have an episode coming up on that. It's not good.
Yeah.
Just a shame too, because like I don't really know much about it, and when I watched the first episode, I'm like, "Well, this show is metal as hell."
It was over a few days.
The depiction of the Mountain Meadows Massacre is less brutal than reality in that.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. And they talk about it killing 70 people. It's like it killed more than double that.
Yeah.
Depending on who you go by. But John D. Lee said 150, and he said so only 3 weeks afterwards. So, like, let's go with that guy since he did it. But John Cradlebaugh, I would have loved to he's the one who is most responsible for keeping Utah out of statehood, like after 1857, and also most responsible for the creation of Nevada. And Nevada, he was also the judge who came down into Utah in 1859 to try to actually, prosecute the Mountain Meadows Massacre.
Right.
And then Utah played this game of like, oh, we're going to redistrict you, and then we're going to, hide. The Legion is going to hide the perpetrators.
Well, Lee was
all kinds of
right, but that was like in the 1870s or something.
Lee was, in 1876.
So after Civil War ends, basically, Civil War really paused a lot of the pursuit of that, right?
No, what really paused it was how much Young got away with screwing with Cradlebaugh.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not joking. Cradlebaugh is like the linchpin of all of this, and Nevada, where I grew up, was basically created because of how they redistricted him.
So, Cypher, you should probably tell people who don't know, who maybe from our other channels, what your PhD dissertation was on, so people know that you have
that'd be great.
background in all of this.
This is actually beyond the dissertation, I study American violence in the Southwest during the frontier period.
That's, I think, one of the most metal PhD.
That's a cool
I
idea.
studied violence in the West.
I've had a lot of friends just kind of comment that oftentimes when we were in class and stuff, and things we start talking about killings happening, and suddenly I perk up.
I remember when we were at VidCon, and you're doing your video, and you talked to me about it, and I remember getting blown away when you were bringing up some of the violent statistics of what was it, murder rates or something like that.
Oh yeah,
is that what it is you went in our discussion in your video?
Because we were in Los Angeles, and for a little bit in there, Los Angeles had the highest murder rate in the entire world.
Just lawless.
Hey, I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. We were doing pretty good in the 70s on that.
Yeah, it's nothing in comparison to Los Angeles in the 1850s.
All right.
We're talking a murder rate of 6 figures. Most wars don't reach that high of a homicide rate.
And just and how much of that ended up being prosecuted? A couple scapegoats. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of it was. A lot of the murders were prosecutions by lynching, but
mob
and Patton, we talked about Patton. Patton's grandfather was mayor of L.A. during all of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
He had a horrible last name though.
Wilson.
Patton.
Mount Wilson in L.A. is named after Patton's grandfather.
Yeah, George Wilson.
Hey, going back to the original one to circle back. Chris, how about you? If you could interview somebody in one of your things, if you were, to do your research, if you could. Okay.
Crappy answer.
What would you ask him?
Napoleon.
What would you ask him? Anything you would ask him, though?
What I would want to know is, and it'd be impossible for him to answer this probably accurately or unbiasedly, but when you started out, when the coup first happened and you became first consul, what did you think was the ultimate goal? Because I feel and granted, I'm kind of I'm a fan of Napoleon. I feel like so much of Napoleon's story happened to him and was his response to it, rather than necessarily what his original. I don't think he took over thinking I'm going to be emperor someday, but I think he took the advantage of the opportunity that was created by events.
He wasn't going to turn it down.
Right? Yeah. Well, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I'm just curious to know what his mindset was like in 1797. What did he think was going to end up happening?
Didn't he actually do some interviews?
Oh, I'm sure he probably did.
Anybody ask him that? Yeah. I mean, I would think so. They'd put newspapers and stuff. Maybe it's
I'm pretty sure we actually have his answer for that.
I mean, we do have a lot of his writing, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, definitely his justification well after the fact in 1824 when he wrote his autobiography.
No, he was dead in 1824. He died in 1821, but yeah. But yeah, he wrote a lot on that last 6 years that he was on when he was in exile.
So. Tiger, do you have someone you'd love to interview? If for a future video or I don't know, something like that?
I don't know. I mean,
or interesting person in general, you'd actually rather get the straight from the horse's mouth?
Honestly, I'd probably just pick like a musician, but that almost feels like a waste.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Who? Kurt Cobain. You wanted to talk about? You wanted grunge, like.
Kurt would be great, but I feel like that Kurt wouldn't really have much to say because he was a very simple guy, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a lot of like cool beliefs, I guess, but I don't think like suddenly he'd be like, yeah, since dying at the age of 27, I'm a completely different person now that I've been brought back to life at 27. I don't know. Probably Cliff Burton, the original bassist for Metallica.
Oh, is he one of them that died?
Yeah, he died in a
two, right? Bassist or something like
that. One of them. Well, they had 3 bassists, but only one of them died. They were taking a tour bus in Sweden. They drew straws for bunks, and when the bus flipped over in the middle of the night, the person that won the best bunk, Cliff Burton, was the one that died.
Oh no!
Sounds a lot like the Buddy Holly story with the coin flip. Yeah,
because I believe like the person that had the second shortest straw, which that's one of their songs. The person that had the second shortest straw was Kirk Hammett, their guitar player. So it would have been any one of them dying. Like, I know everyone hates on Lars, but Lars is actually kind of like the good.
He's important.
He's good as a music writer more than a drummer. He's good, but anyway, because like Cliff Burton kind of died like right before the Black Album, so right before Metallica became like as big as it was, and so it'd be interesting to hear his thoughts on like Metallica changing their sounds, becoming one of the biggest bands in the world, and all that stuff.
If you could interview him beyond the grave, then.
Well, I presume that's what the question was.
Yeah, I guess either way. Like, hey, what do you think of what Metallica turned into after you were gone? Like, does it feel like that was still the natural progression? I guess you think
he's also one of my favorite musicians because, like, as a bass player, he's kind of weird in the sense that he's very classical influenced, and he played his bass guitar like a normal guitar. In terms of his style.
Yeah.
And so like if you know the song like For Whom the Bell Tolls, the opening riff in For Whom the Bell Tolls is actually him on bass with a pedal, not Kirk Hammett on the guitar.
Listen to that again. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is from Chris Jurgis. Greatest state not named Ohio.
Why even ask the question? Kentucky.
Why?
That's where all my family's from.
Oh, okay.
Completely biased answer.
Yeah. What do you guys? You guys got it.
I hated Kentucky.
What
I
else
had spent 4 months there. That was not fun.
Where were you in Kentucky?
Fort Knox.
Oh, well, you were in the wrong part of Kentucky. You got to go to Eastern Kentucky.
Were you guarding the gold?
No, I was going to basic training. But
Gold.
Also, he's got the Metallica Ninja Star. Nice. I'm not even joking. That's
cool.
Yeah.
Chris also was the one in chat that is loving that you brought up Cliff Burton and those guys. He's chatting about that. All right, we had another. Oh wait, let me get to this one. Sorry, real quick. Panel, do you guys agree with most historians that Mark Antony is the most overrated general in Rome?
I mean, there's so many generals in Rome. I feel like I don't know enough of them to really give like an educated answer on that.
And who's rating Roman generals? Who does that?
You kidding me? I bet we could Google it right now. Let's look at how many Roman general tier lists there are.
No, but like
Thucydides has one, I think.
But by historians.
Yeah. I mean, overrated.
I wouldn't call him overrated.
I don't know, but I mean, he lost. So how rated is he going to be?
He lost, but he lost in a naval battle.
Right. Yeah, and that's not.
Look, he's better than Crassus, who thought that he could just like conquer Persia, and then fittingly, it was molten gold or molten silver.
It didn't really happen, but yeah. That's another one.
I want to believe it happens because it's literally so metal. Like,
it's also so poetic. The richest man in history died by gold.
Plus, like, he got rich off of like firefighting mafia. That's like how horrible can you be?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we'll put the fire out if you pay us. You better hurry. the flames and the prices keep going higher.
Imagine if he lived another like 80 years and was there for Nero.
Oh god.
Very cool. I just thought of this now because you're just saying what battles in history would you wish you could safely watch? You said Trafalgar. This reminds me because of ancient naval battles. I want to see what the Battle of Salamis was like, Persian Wars, and see if it really was what I imagine, which is like bumper cars of boats, and then sinking them while the Persians swim to the shore to wait for the Greek army at a safe distance. I'd like to see that. I guess.
Isn't most of the fighting done like hand to hand? Like
yeah. Well, yeah, you board the ship. You try to ram it right, and then it could sink it, but then you get close, and I just imagine bumper boats, and then you get close and board the ship, and that's
somebody said they'd like to see Kenai. Yeah, I could see wanting to see how that went down, but for me, Austerlitz for me.
Austerlitz,
not
when they're like
version in the movie.
Like when they fall through the ice, you want to see that part?
No, I just want to see in general. I mean, just the whole setting and it's honestly, it's Napoleon's masterpiece. And but Kenai would be interesting just to see how that all really unfolded.
I don't know what Kenai is.
The Roman army.
Can you explain what Kenai is? I don't know what it is.
That's the one where Hannibal's forces are in Italy and they inflict like 100,000 dead.
They basically wipe out like the entire Roman army in one day. Yeah.
There's a percentage that they do. It's like an insane percentage of their military.
It's like a big percentage of their military age population died in one day. Yeah,
I think it's like the oldest major like pincer movement victory, right?
Yeah, that's what they did. It was
called. Yeah,
it was kind of like what the Zulu did, where you hit them and then you wrapped around and envelop them.
See, that'd be too gross for me to watch. I think I don't see that much carnage. I think.
That's the nice thing about boats is like
just that's
all you have to worry about is splinters. I mean, come on, it can't be that bloody.
I'd like to watch the 1453 siege of Constantinople.
Oh,
just like get like a nice little bird's eye view of the city to see like which parts of the walls are being attacked at which time.
End of the Roman Empire.
See how loud those cannons were, and just see what those. I mean, that did take like months, but like or weeks, pretty much. But yeah, just to see
the winged hussars in 1683 riding down to save.
See if it actually looked like that. Just
zoom in to the looks on their faces when the paid person opens the gates and lets the Ottomans in, just to see the other soldiers being like, "Are you kidding me?"
I don't want to ignore CJ because he did a super chat. Thank you so much for $10, CJ. If you were to take a North American history road trip, where would you go and why? That's a great question. I always underestimate, and I'm always like, I want to get out of the country and go see stuff. There are so many things in this country I have not seen that are cool. I need to go see. So, what do you guys think? Epic road trip plan. Where do you start? Where do you go? What do you think?
I'm a Civil War guy, and one I haven't done yet is I'd like to just retrace basically the whole Western theater. Go Fort Donelson, Shiloh, Corinth, Vicksburg, go over to Chattanooga and Atlanta, and just kind of do that whole. I might do that at some point.
Farms.
That'd actually be really funny. That'd be really funny. You like start at Wilson's Creek, and then you go down to New Orleans, and then you go back up to Shiloh, and you just keep going north south.
Go in order. Yeah.
That's cool.
Have you been to Wilson's Creek Battlefield?
No, that's one I need to get to. That in Perryville, I haven't been to yet.
Let me know if you ever do, because I'm in the area.
Oh, nice.
What about an epic Southwest one, Cypher? What would be a good for that?
The Battle of Glorietta.
There's
Glorietta Pass.
Honestly, there's nothing to see there.
You just take Route 66.
Lincoln's cool. Lincoln's a cool little town.
So wait, you'll pass them?
Well, Lincoln's way the heck away from Glorietta Pass.
Yeah.
That's just to go from Comanche Canyon to freaking Lincoln. That's like 250 mile. No, like 150 mile road trip just between those two locations. No, it's like 200. Yeah. The thing about the Southwest is it's big.
Yeah.
But also, I don't really need to think about like what I would want because I've done a lot of it.
Yeah.
I've been everywhere in the Southwest.
I want to see more of the ancient stuff too. Like I still need to go Chaco Canyon, something like that, or Mesa Verde. Like I see some of the smaller, like
Anastasi's.
ancestral Anasazi stuff. I want to see. I haven't seen the bigger.
Have you been to Lost City, just north of Vegas?
No.
It's the furthest Anasazi ruin. That you furthest west Anasazi ruin, and and it's like near Overton, if you know Overton, Bunkerville, Mesquite, that area. It's just north of Vegas, and there's like a fake version that you can climb around. It's fun. Climbing around old ruins is fun.
The other, I guess, trip you'd go through, the Midwest, kind of there is like the mound builder stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe you'll start with like the Serpent Mound.
I'm sad to say I've never been there.
Yeah, that's
in Ohio.
Right?
I've never been there.
Is so. I did part of a video on that, one of the originals. Yeah, I want to go see that Serpent Mound and then go to Cahokia. I mean, that stuff, some of that, it goes almost like the whole Mississippi River, like valley.
We were talking about Civil War battlefield. The Shiloh battlefield has mounds on it, right by the Tennessee River. There's a bunch of Native American burial mounds there.
I want to see that. I also hope they can get some more. We need to do more excavating and more archaeology there. I think there's such an untapped wealth and knowledge still there.
Do you in Utah have a lot of like Native American sites that you can visit?
Yeah. They are. Definitely the southern parts. I really love all the Red Rock areas. When you go, a lot of them, you can see a lot of cool stuff, even just in the national parks. Go to Zion's, go to, any of them actually down there. You can see glyphs and things, everywhere. Yeah. So they're so cool.
Utes used to do it. And there's a really cool one just south of Salt Lake City.
Which one?
That has a glyph that is basically depicting the Mormon entry.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Because it's something that Utes, Paiutes, it's actually unclear which one did it, but the way a lot of them would depict Europeans is that they always depicted them with. Let me grab an example.
Very cool.
With a hat.
They always work.
Like you can tell they're depicting that because it's always there and it's right there.
White guys, they got to protect.
It's like
their
just
skin.
southwest, it's near where southeast. No, southwest. Yeah, no, it's
west towards must be towards the desert.
It's near where Camp Floyd used to be, or I guess is.
I don't know where that camp was.
I
don't know.
Cedar Valley area, but like really cool caves there. But if I were to answer that though, that question, I'd also pick something that I haven't been. I haven't been in the deep south. Like, besides Texas, like I've never been in the deep south. Heck, I haven't even been to Oklahoma.
And Texas isn't the deep south anyway, so.
So I've never been to Boston. I've never been to Boston. I need to go to Boston.
Boston, great.
That's another trip.
Yeah, we did the Edu hangout there. That was super fun.
I've been in the East Coast, but I'd never gone more north than New York. So
I tell you what, if you go to Boston, definitely go to Quincy and go see the Adams houses. Fantastic.
Okay. They're well taken care of. It's not.
And
just
if you watch the John Adams series, you'll recognize it because they did such an amazing job of showing his house exactly like it is.
Not just a tourist trap. I hope.
No, it's not. And you can't film in there or anything. And you'll go in with a handful of people. It's great.
Yeah, but also Boston, like the Freedom Trail is just. I love that. When we were there, I spent so much time in downtown Boston, even when we weren't actually meeting. Like my favorite thing is that there is a train. Like this sounds stupid, but like it's because it's stupid. I love it. The old Capitol building. The old State House
where the massacre happened.
Yeah, right in front of it is where the Boston Massacre happened. Right next to that, like literally about 20 feet diagonally away, is a freaking subway station built into it. So the whole building like vibrates every time a train comes by. I love that, and it's stupid as heck.
Thank you. Okay, another one come in. First off, how are all you guys? Is anyone not doing okay? Otherwise,
I'm doing pretty good.
Assume you're all doing good. Second, if you could go anywhere, where would you go? I guess that brings in some.
Did you say you could use a drink, Cypher?
Yeah, I've only been.
I was drinking the whole game. I don't know what your problem was.
What? I've been drinking soda.
I see.
I had a whole glass of limoncello.
So I see. You were taking performance-enhancing substances, and that's
if anything, it dulled my senses. It's a
that's why I wasn't drinking. I wanted to be prepared, but I don't have any.
There's so many places I would want to go, but I've just never been to. Like I've been all over the U.S. South and parts of the Midwest and Maine, and I went to Toronto once.
Yeah.
And I went to Scotland once, and that's literally it.
Scotland, great.
Scotland was great, but I just never really been able to have the time or money to go to so many places. So if I did any sort of road trip, I just do a giant circle at this point.
The other two places I haven't been to is Alaska and Hawaii as well. But I have been in Missouri, so
Well, I have two states I haven't been to yet, so those are top of my list, and that's Utah and Rhode Island. I'm trying.
All right, well, if you want the Nixon achievement, you need to go to them.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably in the next couple months. I'm actually flying to Tucson at the end of May to do my mom's wedding, and I'm flying Delta, so I'll probably connect through Salt Lake City, so I might stay a day there.
When are you going to be there?
End of May. It's the week of Memorial Day.
In June,
that week after Memorial Day.
Because I'm going to be doing some research down there.
Oh, really? Yeah, I'm going to go over to Tombstone. I'm going to be all over Arizona, so I'll have to let you know. But for me, the two I haven't been to yet that I really want to go to are, and they're not places I would go right now, Russia and Israel.
Yep. Yeah. I have a trip in my mind planned because I haven't been to Greece either, but the Eastern Mediterranean arc. So I'm thinking what I want to do is Athens, Istanbul, Israel, and then end up in Egypt, which again I've never been to Egypt. That is my dream trip. I want to do.
Take a week off and go with me to Egypt in December. That's all I'm saying.
You're going again?
I have another one first week of December. Yeah.
Are you doing those Trova trip things?
Yeah.
Gosh dang it!
I tried to arrange one and nobody signed up.
I've had that happen, but Egypt. This is my second Egypt one because the first one sold out in a couple of days. So I've had a few that got canceled because I couldn't get enough people to book.
Same sites, you think?
Huh?
All the main sites at least
for Egypt.
Yeah, your next trip. Yeah, your next.
Yeah,
trip.
It's the same as the last one. I just made a few corrections, but we're doing all the big stuff in Cairo and all the big stuff in Luxor. Yeah,
I need to make that one happen. So I need to make that one happen.
Anyway. Yeah, I actually need to ask you some questions about using Trova Trip because I want to do that, but we'll do that.
Yeah, I don't know if you have my cell phone number or not, but I'll make sure you get it. You can text me.
I want to start doing now that I've lightened my coaching
where my phone is.
Load a little bit, my extracurriculars. I actually want to start doing some student trips because I've had so many students want to do that. After the school year ends, and I get plagued as a teacher with so many salesmen for all those places, all those ones, and I just need to figure out which ones are good. And
a group trip is the only way
job and keep prices down. I'm not in a the middle class area, so I want to try to do my best I can for the kids, and their families. But anyway, I want to do some of those and bring my AP kids.
And you've seen it that a lot of the time when I do a trip, it's half fun, half business. Like when I was there in Salt Lake City, there was we were there for the conference, but I was also doing research.
Yeah. Well, that way you can make it a write-off. See,
if I went to Salt Lake City, that's all I'd do. I'd spend my whole week at the Family History Library.
Yeah, hook up with Genie Vlogger. He's out here all the time. He actually was just here a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, our schedules can go there. But he's always at the family.
His whole thing is
it's his whole thing. Unfortunately, we were unable to hook up there. But
just to answer the question, something I've been wanting to do for the longest. When I was writing my dissertation, you need something to just disappear from all that work, right? To turn the brain off. And I got really into watching cruise channels, like Emma cruises especially. And so I really want to go on a cruise. That's it. I have never been.
You haven't been to Alaska. That's the perfect cruise.
Exactly.
Alaska. Those are
great. I heard that is a great value.
Yeah,
especially because it's so much cheaper, like Caribbean and that, and it's really cool.
Mhm.
I have heard good things about Alaska.
My brother lives in Anchorage, and the reason he and his family live in Anchorage is because they took an Alaska cruise, and they loved it so much that they moved there.
Move there? Oh gosh.
Okay.
A couple people want to visit Chernobyl, so
Yeah.
good luck with that.
I don't think I'd go to Ukraine right now.
You can
Yeah,
always
you
use a
wanna go
third
there, but-
arm.
And I don't know how close you want to get to, like, the elephant's foot. I'm really into the Chernobyl story.
I
I'd
don't
love
think
to go
anybody's
there if there
allowed
was
to
a
get to
war
that,
going
maybe.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's allowed to get to the elephant's foot.
Oh no, you die in however many minutes, but
Well, and, there's like ways of
yeah,
suiting up,
preparing.
like,
Preparing for it. But
and
I
we
just
have
think it's
pictures of
insane
it.
that's still like burning, essentially, or whatever, and still active. But Hugh said he's been to Chernobyl. But all right, guys, let's see. I'm gonna get in your last few questions, guys, because I'm gonna let these guys go as well. I want to see if I have missed any. Obviously, I'll get to super chats first, but they don't have to be. Some other ancient sites, just seeing other people. Yeah, I love to see ancient sites like
Oh yeah.
in Iraq. Go see some ziggurat ruins, and like obviously that would be cool. And
I want to give that copper merchant a piece of my mind.
the guy that stiffed you with bad copper.
I tell you, the pyramids in Egypt, awesome. But if you have any kind of claustrophobia,
Yeah,
I mean,
going
climbing
down,
into the center of the Great Pyramid, ooh boy,
They
that
let
takes a
they
while
let
to get
normal
there, right?
people just climb around in them. What?
it was a steady line of hundreds of people going in. Yeah, you just pay an
Guided
extra
tours,
fee.
yeah.
and everything in Egypt's cheap, so it was like $8 or something to go in.
Dude.
It's but yeah, it's about 3 feet by 3 feet, and you're basically staring at the butt of the person in front and above you as you climb in, squatting the entire time till you make it in. It's like it was 55 degrees outside, and it was like 95 in the center of that pyramid. It was awful.
Do you think if you communicated with people there, like, are we credible enough that we could get like more access? Like, for
We're not. I mean, Mr. Beast got 5 days.
I know he got to like stay there basically.
No,
But any kind of like press credentials,
and knowing anything about Egypt, he probably paid them a lot of money for that.
Oh my gosh!
You
guys watch that video?
people, and you can do anything you want there.
I did a reaction video of that. I was like, how are these guys able to do this? And they're just like goofing around inside the Great Pyramid, pretty much.
The reason that I have that picture of me with King Tut,
Yeah,
it says real big, no photographs.
yeah.
Is that the Egyptian guy who was working in there for like $1 took those pictures for me?
Okay. I would just love to get some access. I obviously would love to film anything I could, but there's like someone you talk to, one of the guys I see on TV, that are in all the shows. Like, can I hook up with those guys and get the cool access? Yeah, like Mr. Beast did, where they went under the Sphinx. Like, they got to go in like the chamber down there. And
yeah, that you don't get to do when you're there, unless you're Mr. Beast, I guess.
Wait, under.
Yeah, there's like a chamber under it.
Yep.
Oh, the little butt part, the butt plug, basically.
Like a tiny.
That's what we're gonna call it from now on. The butt plug of the Sphinx.
And of course, he advertised it by bearing one of those little toys or whatever he sells, and is like, he's like, I'm gonna. It was like, what do you say? If you saw that, it was like, this
chamber's not exactly a good term.
$10,000, and he's like, I'm burying it right here, and I'm sure a bunch of idiots are gonna go and vandalize the place trying to get the little rare whatever those little figures are. Anyway, all right. Let's just see if any other final ones here. Let's see. What's to say? Are there any places that are not in Europe or the Middle East that you suggest? I haven't been really. I mean, I don't know about you guys outside of Europe or Middle East. I basically want to go to Asia. I want to see Angkor Wat. I think that looks like it would be absolutely amazing.
That'd be cool.
That in Cambodia.
I've heard great things about Machu Picchu in Peru.
Yep.
I'd like to get there.
Yep.
My mom was there just a few months ago.
Yeah, for South America, the place I'd want to see the most. Yeah, probably. So, anyway, I don't know. You could spend your whole life doing this stuff. So, all right. Let's see what else. I think that might be about it. Okay. Okay. So this will be good for you guys. Do you have favorite historians?
Absolutely.
I knew
Graham Hancock. Graham Hancock. No.
What? the pseudo archaeologist.
Yeah,
like not even in this, not even trying to fake the same field.
We had my brother. He likes a lot of his stuff too. And we had a family dinner, and I come to my parents' house, and they're all watching that, and my parents don't know anything they hear from that. They don't know if it's true or not. And it was like every 30 seconds, I was like, that probably not true. That's probably not true. That's probably not true. And all that. I was like doing a live reaction, but in real life. Like, but anyway, and yeah, serious notes. Do you guys have favorite historians?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will and Ariel
Not
Durant.
really.
Who? Sorry.
Will and Ariel Durant.
What do they do? What's their work?
They did the Durant series. Like that.
Oh.
If you've seen these books before, this used to be like a required set of books that you had to have on your shelf if you were a historian.
Okay.
You have them, Chris?
No, I was just looking to see. I couldn't remember if I did or not.
Yeah, it's
also,
a big set. They're just like the best storytellers, and just were putting out their books from every couple of years, and it's kind of sad that they died within days of each other. And they were working on the industrial age is what they were going to write next, but death came and took them, so we only got, I think, 8 books. Will also wrote a history of philosophy, which actually kind of opened the door to the history of philosophy. He was kind of the first one to write a major book on that, and I still think one philosopher wrote basically a response book to be like, well, this is great, but it needs more. And I can't remember his first name, something weird, but it's the last name Russell. Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell wrote a response book to it, which is better than Durant's. So read Russell's one. But they're like just the most dense books, information dense history books you'll ever read, and they're just so well written that it's magnificent. And especially when Ariel started working with him a lot more closely during the Story of Civilization series, they're just really good books.
No, that's great.
And their song Rio is one of the best songs of the 80s.
Yeah. It's just my teacher brain and teaching AP. I don't read probably enough historians, because I'll read more like primary stuff, and just I love reading famous documents, but especially once I'm freed up from teaching, I want to read more historian books. And I'm so focused on curriculum of reading that, and replacing it, I guess, with what I do on my channel, I guess, watching the videos on it. So anyway, yeah. Do you guys have any historians? Anything you like?
Modern, probably the guy who has written the books who have impacted me the most have been Ron Chernow over the last several years. Especially Hamilton and his Grant books, in Washington as well. He does a lot of biographies. Ancient historian Manetho, who was Egyptian, writing right around the time of the Greek conquest, and a lot of what we know about ancient Egypt before we could decipher hieroglyphics came from him. So he's interesting. He doesn't get everything right, but I think a lot of what he wrote and left for us is stuff that we might have had if we would have held on to the Library of Alexandria. So,
okay, awesome.
In terms of influence, my biggest one would be Richard Maxwell Brown, who is basically the person who invented the history of the writing of the history of violence.
Yeah.
He wrote Strain of Violence. He was on the LBJ's committee. Better remember how it's the Committee on the Causes and Prevention of Violence. That's how it goes. He was actually on the committee in 1969, and he continued to write stuff. And basically, my dissertation is like an extension of one of his theories.
I'm going to sneak in these last two for us before we go. There was an Andrew Jackson question.
Oh, fun.
Okay, question. No matter who got elected before the Trail of Tears happened, would that still have happened? Or because it's Jackson, why it happened? What do you guys think of that?
It still would have happened. It might not have happened the same way.
Right.
It might not have happened like that.
Still be removal.
They still would have been removed, maybe in a more humane way.
Yeah, I mean, we can't forget that the Calhoun plan had come out literally. Calhoun proposed his plan in, 1824? The Calhoun plan is basically what Indian removal became.
Like send to Oklahoma, kind of. It was still the same kind of. Yeah.
Although something to remember that it wasn't just Oklahoma that was the Indian barrier state. That was literally all the way from today's Oklahoma to today's Montana. So that got whittled down very quickly. But I actually have a lecture coming up on this.
Oh, cool.
But the other thing is there was something uniquely cruel about Jackson's implementation of it.
Right. Yeah.
Especially when it came to Cherokees who just got weaseled out of their lands, and all the people who actually did sign that treaty were killed, as was constitutionally mandated by the Cherokee Constitution. But there's also this deeper thing of how Indian policy had been changing throughout the early 19th century from being more treaty-based to kind of pushing away from treaties already by the time by the late 1820s. So there's this already steady shift, especially after the Seminole War. The first Seminole War.
And speaking of spurious quotes, there's no real evidence that Jackson said he made his ruling, now let him enforce it.
No, but he did say something very similar that
just like a lot of those quotes. Yeah.
Yeah, but the actual quote is cooler because I could pull it up real quick. It's in my notes.
How many legions does the Supreme Court have?
But I remember it uses the word stillborn.
Do we have any data, just while you're looking that up, or anything of what public opinion was about it?
Well, we have the actual congressional votes.
Right. I'm thinking even more at more of a civilian level.
Yeah, but those people didn't matter unless they owned land.
I mean, yeah.
Nobody cares
but even then, we have
any idea.
We have
most people like good riddance.
No, actually, it was incredibly controversial.
Okay.
In fact, I have that in my notes here too.
Good data.
So let's see here. Where's there's the Emerson quote that I like to use here. Where's the Emerson quote?
Somewhere with Lake and Palmer.
The problem is I'm looking at my lecture notes, so I'm jumping between things, but I wanted to do the
fine. We're looking at that. There was another question. We'll circle back to that. This was the other one I wanted to look at here, which was, I have a hypothetical presidential race for you guys. Who wins, George Bush Jr. versus JFK? Depends when it is, right?
Yeah, probably, but JFK, I would say probably.
I
mean, because a lot of the things that drew people to George W. Bush were also strengths that JFK had, like his relatability, and you could have a beer with him, that kind of stuff.
For the first term, you would say.
Right, yeah.
Pre-9/11.
I mean, they're both war heroes, but only one of them was handsome and charming.
George
Washington was rather awkward and barfed in diplomats' laps. So
George Bush, war hero. Yeah, George Bush
and the Emerson quote I found, just by searching, I couldn't find the stillborn quote, but the quote is, and this is quite illustrative of the New England mindset towards Indian removal,
which probably is going to be different, right, than the South.
Yeah, but it is at that point the most populous region in the United States.
That's fair.
he wrote to Van Buren when he was president, saying, "The immortal question whether justice shall be done by the race of civilized to the race of savage man, whether all the attributes of reason, of civility, of justice, and even mercy shall be put off by the American people, and so vast an outrage upon the Cherokee nation and upon human nature shall be consummated." Like. This was, like Emerson had fluffy language a lot of the time, but like he used it with vigor.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right, guys. There's other questions stuff. Hit up these guys on all their places. I know they love to talk, but I do want to let these guys go because again they have stayed much longer than I would have.
It's past my bedtime on the East Coast.
You're East Coast, so yeah, we can get going with that. Before we go though, let me let each of you guys kind of I don't know. I mean, I know they know a lot about where you're at, but plug anything. I always love to give you guys an opportunity. What are you working on right now? What can we expect kind of coming up here? I don't know. Let's go Cypher. What do you, I mean, you're always researching stuff. What do you got coming up?
Ton of Mormon stuff.
Nice.
And your last videos for each of you, so check out. I need to watch yours still. Cypher. It was something with more. This
is the first of the Mormon series. Yeah.
Okay. What was the title, or what is it?
I've changed it a couple of times. Nobody wants to watch it. It's not actually very popular. It's one of those 10 out of 10s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Although,
have you run into Sidney Rigdon in all your Mormon research?
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Ohio.
Yeah. He's from here.
Ohio
he's
guy.
He's our local guy.
Yeah.
I actually
Sidney Rigdon in the episode because
I was the youth
I'll talk a
minister
little bit
at
about
the church
him and
that he was an elder in. So he started out it was called the Austintown Baptist Association. I was the youth minister at what became 4 Mile Run Christian Church, which was the Austintown Baptist Association. He got kicked out for teaching stuff that wasn't biblical.
I was going to ask you what the opinion is of him now.
Well, yeah, he got kicked out for.
He's not even well regarded.
He basically is seen as the guy who takes his ball and goes home. So he goes up to Kirtland, hooks up with the Mormons outside of Cleveland, goes west, thinks he's going to be the guy who inherits from Brigham Young, or instead of Brigham Young.
One of the many people that said that Joseph told them that you're the next guy.
And a bit of irony, he started his own offshoot, the Church of Jesus Christ of Monongahela, Pennsylvania, and we have one in Austintown.
Oh, nice.
From his denomination.
Well, you're talking about the Bickerite faction, which is technically separate from the Rigdonites. They kind of split in the 1880s, but Rigdon had already died by that point. But one thing that's really interesting about Sidney Rigdon is he was officially the only other person that the church had labeled a prophet and revelator. So if the president of LDS is supposed to be the prophet, then by its own bylaws,
the mainstream church doesn't support that.
Obviously, because Brigham Young made sure.
That's more definitely the ones that didn't go out west. The ones that stayed close to Emma Smith and
Emma Smith was not a Rigdon supporter either.
Well, I mean, basically the ones that just didn't go west, but
there's a ton of different ones that Rigdon was his own faction, and the only reason why LDS didn't go with Rigdon was basically he lost a debate. They were going to the glade, this big kind of open field, and the wind was blowing one way, so Rigdon, instead of trying to speak against the wind, got up on a Young practically arranged this, by the way, but got up on the wagon, started speaking. He started talking about wanting to invade England.
He said some weird stuff.
Guy was mental. But then the wind just shifted, and then Young just hopped up on the podium and started talking, and everybody's like, "Oh, I can hear him." And that's basically why they voted for him. Now there's this whole LDS thing of he spoke with Smith's voice and his
He's
they
a
could
great
see.
speaker. He was all the emotional. He
Yeah,
was
except for that whole thing.
hours and hours long.
That's literally not written down for 20 years. That is
Of
not
what type of speaker he was.
no, the whole thing about like he took on the persona of Smith and everything. Like that's not said for like 20 years.
Yeah.
That is like nobody said it at the time. It was basically the wind changed directions and then you won.
Sir, I knew Joseph Smith. I served with Joseph Smith. I fled west with Joseph Smith. Joseph Smith was a prophet of mine. You, sir, are no Joseph Smith.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let me. I'm gonna. While you're anything else you guys say, I'm gonna find the link to your video and I'll put it in the chat just so people can hopefully check that out. But yeah, anything else you want to say?
Got a whole bunch of stuff in the works, and I'm using these Mormon episodes to start working on an expansion from my dissertation to an actual book.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
the next one. So it's when Americans lynch the Mormon prophet. There you go.
Oh, okay.
It's about his death, Joseph's death.
Well, it's about the like it's just the first 30 years, but like it ends at that. So it's this is a history of Mormondom, and so it's going to go all the way until the Bundys. So
nice. So you're committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Begun the Mormon Wars have.
No, I love the Mormon history. All right, Tigerstar, what do you got to say? Anything we'll promote? What's your last video? What's your next? What are you working on?
Little over a week ago, I finished a video about the 2011 Canadian election, just because I find Canadian politics actually really interesting. And what do you know? Canada's having an election soon. And people seem to like it. It's the longest video I've ever uploaded on my channel. And I'm hoping to do more really long videos about random elections, about countries that most people don't care about. So you should totally watch it.
You're going to have the long video spiral. I've been on it for a while. Don't do it.
I was wondering, like, just when you were saying that, is like anybody going to care kind of about that election? But then I see 11 days ago, you got one, the Canadian election that almost changed everything. 11 days, 146,000 views. So people are
nice. People are really happy with that one. Yeah.
That one's awesome. So is it similar to, that's not the same election, right? That video?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, that's the one okay. I thought you said that's the one you were working on, but yeah, that one.
Yeah.
What's the response? Is it all Canadians, or like, have you noticed? Like,
a lot of Canadians are happy that I even acknowledged them in the first place, but most people do seem to like it.
Just thanks for covering us.
I think, like, like with American politics, there's kind of like the drama aspect to it, where you could almost like read it as like characters in a TV show or a book for each election. And honestly, there are plenty of elections in other countries where you could totally do that too. It's just most people don't know them. So in Canada, it's like America light, Diet America, so
America's hat.
Oh my God.
America's hat. There you go.
I can't believe this. Hold on a sec. I got to just pull up the screen. I promise that this was not intentional. Okay. When we made the questions and stuff, and I'll show you what I mean if I actually pull up, if you guys can see his screen here. Go ahead and you can look at what the last two of his last three videos were. If you can see this on the
I did them for April Fool's Day.
I promise this was not, we did not know this, that he had two videos on those Micronations in the last week. I promise, unless Professor What, I know you got those questions for me.
Professor What was secretly on Team Tigerstar.
So if he was, I mean, you got a very good advantage, I think, in that, by History of Sealand every year, and then History of
Yeah, my channel's April Fool's Day tradition is to always make a video on something that totally sounds fake but is technically real.
By the way, I love your
kind of like when I make videos about how great Woodrow Wilson is on April Fool's Day.
I also like,
but I said things that are real though.
Chris, I liked your fake oversimplified video you did for April Fool's.
I tell you what, the thumbnail was more work than the actual video on that one.
I was like, that was a lot of work, and it was just Wilson for.
I almost considered making a video of like why no one lives in the red and just making the oceans red And then just reading about how humans can't breathe oxygen or walk on water, and that's why no one lives on the oceans. And that was the entire video.
You got how Hungary stopped Austria's colonial plans. That's cool too. That's your recent one. We gotta get that going.
Spain was after the Spanish-American War. They almost gave up on all the rest of their colonies, and they offered Austria their colony in Africa, in modern-day Western Sahara.
Yeah.
And Austria said, "Sure, why not?" And then Hungary said, "No, we want the Balkans." And so they weren't able to get it.
Why? Stay away. Stay out of there. Nothing good happens. All right. I forgot if you said what you're working on. Anything you want to give a little sneak peek to?
I mean, I'm honestly kind of in between videos at the moment, so I don't. Okay. I'm always working on stuff, but I don't have any obvious next video or anything.
All right. Now, Chris, I mean, you're always traveling, so
yeah.
I mean, you got the reaction stuff coming out, but any other projects?
Well, I'm actually in the next couple of days going to put up my first video from the Egypt trip. So it'll be going to Giza, going inside the Great Pyramid, visiting the Egyptian Museum, which is where the Tut mask is and everything. So that'll be coming up. I'm going to in 2.5 weeks. I'm heading to Berlin, Dresden, Prague, Bratislava, and Vienna. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
Amazing.
And then actually I come home for 4 days. I go to Gettysburg for the film festival, and then I have no other trips planned for the rest of the year until Egypt in December. So
Gettysburg, JD will be there, right?
At the Gettysburg Film Festival, yeah, JD will be there.
They could, if anyone's out there.
Yeah, I'm actually going to get to. I'm introducing the screening of Saving Private Ryan at the Gettysburg historical, or at the visitor center, and I'm going to be interviewing Dale Dye, who was in Saving Private Ryan. He's the military advisor that trained all of them. He's the guy with the white hair in the scene where they're meeting with George C. Marshall, and he says, now there's no way you could have known where those guys were dropped. You know, first reports out of people at Schaefer said that they are all dropped to hell and gone, and then he plays Colonel Sink in Band of Brothers.
I remember the invasion of Normandy, a critical part of the Battle of Gettysburg. Right.
Well, it's the 80th anniversary of VE Day, and of course Eisenhower lived in Gettysburg. Yeah, and the reason he lived in Gettysburg is because during World War I he didn't go over to Europe. He was training tank crews at Camp Colt on the Pickett's Charge battlefield in Gettysburg. So that was kind of when his lifelong connection to Gettysburg began. So we'll have Ike's granddaughter there, and Ken Burns, and Martin Sheen will be back, and a bunch of Trace Adkins is going to be there. Martin Sheen, literally the nicest man you'll ever meet.
He's really into it, right? It really seems like he's legitimately interested.
Oh, he is interested in every person he meets. If it was up to him and he met you, he would spend an hour talking to you, learning about you. That's just how he is. That's cool. But he played Eddie Slovic, who was the only American executed for desertion in World War II. We're going to be screening that movie, and he's going to be doing it, like kind of talking before the movie and everything. So,
okay. While you guys are doing these amazing other things, I will be molding the young minds of the students of my school.
Cypher's molding young minds too.
Yeah.
Slightly older young minds.
Yeah. Not right now, actually.
Oh, that's nice. Is it a nice break though? Getting maybe.
No.
You're like me. You love teaching, so right. So it's like it's so hard for me to.
I had
never want to break away from that.
At a winter semester one, so that ended.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, thanks again to everyone being here. Thanks to everyone in chat. Check out all these channels. There's lots of stuff in the description. Look out for the championship is coming up. So we'll be bringing Chris back. We're gonna see JD, and we'll get that thing scheduled. Try to get it out there, and we'll have the first season wrap up here. So I'm excited for that. All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and play you out.
Kick their butt, Chris.
Are you all putting your eggs into the Chris basket here? We'll see.
I mean, I kind of have to.
You want to be the person that won, kind of thing,
right? I couldn't help losing. He beat everyone. You know, I just.
He gets revenge.
He also is the last wild card standing.
Yeah.
I mean, between the coups and the History Channel lobbying, I mean, I couldn't stand up with just my individual campaign donations. It's just not enough.
And we'll leave this chat. There's a message that just popped up here, the last one of the evening.
I got to think of a really good alternative for the acronym GOAT that fits Woodrow Wilson. You know what's cool is the very first time that Cypher and I met, we were in Denver together, and Mr. Beat and a few others, and we went into like a bar or a restaurant, and there was a big picture of Woodrow Wilson hanging on the wall. So we have a picture of us making fits at that picture.
I don't actually have that picture. I need to get it.
You guys do. Is that when you first learned that there was multiple of you that had disdain?
I already knew by that point that we hated Wilson.
You had already made your video, right? At least.
Yeah, we'd already known of each other. It's just the first time we met in person.
But you knew of the Wilson, the common Wilson disdain. So that's awesome. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. I hope you have an awesome night, and we will see you here in the next one. And have a great night.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.